Family meeting na sanso biu. Enti yenyina yentena se na yemedi enkomo kakra. Every Sabbath is a meeting with my household. Is everyone ready for the meeting? Yebeda utumfo Nyankopon ase. Say a brand new Sabbath is born, and all of us are fortunate to be alive once again. Say so far so good here. Yente say bonibia can be right. So be we kayate de bad news. Sisi na edru. Ayete say opebrim jan. Isi na edru no ho enye kura Ghana for the obia ye manager. Every Ghanaian no ye manager, no the automatic. Ye nya wo ye manager. Oh, it is saying, oh, we are managing. Management a constant programmer. One ku school kura obeyebi. Enti ye babedi enkomo na ese na otwi mienu ni ena mene mwedi nkomo de afa yenchi 3 weeks kura boni ene yedi nkomo de afa yenchi. So far so good. Responses na menya no ebinom eguso eye adwuma pa omudi nkomo. And some of the information no mensa aka no ekire say adwuma wo ho pa esese ye na mekoso ana makai ye ya kan so say ye momodia na ni nkomo efi say se wunnim ne ufri ba, then it means say you don't know where you're going. Nti san komo no ye nkomo bia very very important. So share the major indicators of life. Abrabo ayeboy, the major issues are. The first one health apomoding. Enema yakase ehu hia brabo mu pa no de di kan apomoding health. Na said ye nyina nim dada no health no sabi obi ni ho basa asiutu a ne diet so ne se obeyare ana ni pedua akwa no ho bi ebetochew. Nobody plans it, nobody schedules it, nobody books appointment. Obi ni wo ya appointment say na wotwe mi no eda ye ni manabosumi me pese me yare malaria eti time no so a bra ɛtɔ de bi a ɛyɛ yɛn life choices yɛdidie yɛnom ɛne sɛdeɛ yɛsi ɛbɔ yɛ bra no ɛna ɛkɔfa ɛba na adeɛ a ɛyɛ ne sɛ wo nso a wahwɛ wo so yie watoto nneɛma nyinaa but asɛ ɛsiane sɛ wo belong to mogya bi nti wowɔ saa yareɛ no bi ɛno yɛ yɛ inherit yɛnyɛ free agyanom anaasɛ ɛnanom ɛhɔ na ɛno no nyinaa kɔwie sɛ wante saa mogyam asɛm no a ase a yare a ɛku adikanfoɔ no ɛno ara na ɛbɛku nso. It most importantly no yɛhwɛ the issue of health as a major indicator of life. Now the second issue aba bɛyɛ economics sikasɛm because wopa hoɔden de ayɛ den wopɛ sɛ wapɔmuden no ɛyɛ okay forward sɛnea ɛbɛyɛ a wobɛtumi akɔ school sɛnea ɛbɛyɛ a wobɛtumi akɔ adwuma right. These are the two. Okay, school ɛdan yi o ne nyinaa bɛwie sika enti sɛ woyi sika free life no mu a ɛnyɛ yi ɛyɛ reality. It is sɛdeɛ obi yare a ɔpɛ sɛ ɔsare ne yareɛ na ne ho tɔ no no saa na obi nni sika a ɛsɛ sɛ ɔde saa ahoɔden na nso ɛpere sɛ ɔbɛyɛ den ɔbɛnya bi. But then sika pɛ no wobɛhia w'ahoɔden na wode ayɛ enti na apɔmuden no ɛdi kan ɛba enti adeɛ a ɛnsɛ sɛ wobɛma ebi aba abɛto koraa pɛn ɛne sɛ wobɛtena wayɛ nhwɛhan na yareɛ aba abɛdokoro ɛfiri sɛ obi bɛnya wɔ a ne mfiri ohia ne firi yareɛ enti woyi apɔmuden first indicator economic sikasɛm second indicator the third indicator ɛyɛ relationship onipa ɛne ne nyɔnko ntam nkitahodie most especially when it comes to love ɔdɔ atenka ɛno nso woyi firi mu a ɛnyɛ yie but sɛ ahoɔden nni hɔ ne sika nni hɔ a third one yɛ useless because you will never enjoy true love and you will never enjoy your relationship. It cannot be broke and dry na onye happy ebi ni hɔ enti just as we yɛbɔ mmɔden sɛ yɛbɛnya apɔmuden na afei yɛnyɛ sika no saa na ɛsɛ sɛ ɔdɔ nso ɛkɔ hɔ. These are major issues of life. Meka aba bɛsi asɛm so sɛnea ɛbɛyɛ a ɛnɛ meeting no nkɔmmɔ a yɛbɛdi no obiara san bɛte ne ho ase na woyi relationship no ɛfiri hɔ a afei na yɛba bɛka gyidie ho asɛm faith. Ɔn sɛ gyidie koraa nni kan because wapɔmuden bɛtumi asɛe wo gyidie ohia bɛtumi asɛe wo gyidie your love life bɛtumi asɛe wo gyidie ɛti saa nneɛma no nyinaa di kan koraa ansa na yɛabɛka gyidie ho asɛm. It means sɛ saa nneɛma no nyinaa koraa di kan ansa na wo as onipa sɛ wobɛgye de sɛ heaven bi wɔ hɔ a wagye di That is our reality. Na so hwe Yesu ni ministry obeye no a no kwasem nie ne botaye ode be wiase nyina ne se oba beka onipa the lost man ene utumfo nyankopon abom reconciliation na baabia erade te no onipa tumi asan nyakwanya akwakotena ho enso obaye no ye hu se obaye anoto hye saade ni no owu yi se me ba banyim te mewu me kama bom te mewu meko no ye hu how he approached the kingdom na osase se omo yare no or some yare the approach those that were sick na or some yare adinti na wanfa na nibre ankosue ni wuo no so na wanya ne ntem no wengu because the whole idea ni say or reconcile or ka unipa any utufo nyankopon abom eti anunti na obaya se unim die ndi akusku okosua de no apase so just learn adinti na ofa praye prapra ho adinti na oklini ho why is that part of the reason although the mission was very clear but unimpefe se the mission no ebeye successful ajise enisoa ne ohaubia the realities on the ground and semwa eha wo ho na ajise wa dealing with them obi ni wa sebe ne yefun dampan ana ekom di no o se mame no nka asemu a ebeboa wo so open attention pa no kure ni say di kan ma na duane nye den endi odidi meya asem bia opeso ne ne kan oni obeka edi Yesu bae no he came to meet a world that we've gone into a ditch ya to amnebim emma the God of the world ewiase nyame no wa faye numum de tese waye slaves enkoa ne mfna e de amane ho ena ofa papa eniema ewo mu no isan se ya nye papa ni nti ye lusu no ena ofa bone eniema ewo mu no wono onim se bone no de saa ohaw ni nyina bebe nipa so ena wasase na wato apiti nipa so nti se wo so ba beje wo mo de a esese hunam fam eniema na ha wo mo no you have to deal with them first ansa no abeka heavy bi ho asem entisa emfa menim se de make an what ase ya eti ya jenkwa ya show Messiah bae no he saw our reality uhu ensensem we hayen uhu nie yawo no a wabedani bubuani uhu nie wabeyi ni freni uhu nie ontumi nwo uhu nie waye paralyzed na say wabubu aka ho uhu nie typhoid ni nyare wa bibri mujetu when he saw those things he realized say sa issues we no a etete womo no say yetumi clear free wa ebeboa ma gidie ho asem ne reconciliation no ayedwuma enti baby a yenyini edru as abusua no say yebeka no kure ne pa baby a be se nipadom agitwi akogu no neche se abrabom nsensem bi wo ho omo pese omo solve iti womo pe baabi a yebetumi asolve ansana heaven bi wo hɔ a wabɛpɛ ho asemaka. Ɛnte saa anka obi ntumi nsan nokore nkyerɛkyerɛ ho na onkodi obi nim ɔbɔfo kyedua man we abrankese man ya ochomi mopa all these people ka obia nsan nokore trudo a Kristo de to ho no nkodi all these people wachi adentia abrabomu nsensem bi ɛwɔ hɔ. Ɛno nti na Yesu sɛ wohwɛ many of the cases he had to deal with her. One of them had to do with Oba Okobo Edwamai, Yachin Edwamamum, red-handed, and Yadenebai. Then he said, Se Mumubi feel say, Onye Boneda, Unikain to Ebuono and Famo Oban. He understood, say, life had put the woman in a certain situation. Nanka Oba Uye Ware for the Uye Den, Yedebe Neba. One obema foforo ekoda echiwadie. But that was her reality. That was nebrabo no obono baby abrabo de na eden akwakose. Womo ano mo penekunu no na abrabo mfomo nkose ho ba na abrabo de obi akose baby individually no obi wo ni issue are all dealing with. And Jesus meant to say you cannot forget your own issue and come and deal with somebody's issue. It doesn't work that way. First, check yourselves. If you think you don't have any problem, you don't have any issue, not heaven, you are there, then you can cast the stone. And from the start of Yenkasayeno, I have done a lot of review. Crusades I call I go back, far back, 5 years, 6 years. Now me tear some of the tapes. In fact, today, me tear some of the messages. What you mean say they were heated? What you mean say ama ubi agabase obehome. So I feel say most of the people are nanke bitumi aboa womuno. Instead of helping them, we suffocated them. With what we believed to be the gospel of truth, without considering Bebia Abrabo, Edina Kwakushe, and to speak from where they were coming from. It is easy on the part of Yen Nipase, Yabe condemn a prostitute. Very easy because you are not a prostitute. Anna. So, Sebi unye jintreni. It in a hadrene, and yet the obeche won't say ubi buanefo. Because unye bia, adia unye die, you can easily criticize, isn't it? But the question is, have they all planned for that? If you try to look at Ubini reality from baby or free bar and try to understand that, can I get the cane, please? You are banned. Please lock him in the room till 2 p.m. Intino, I want us to look at it, say, Yaba bidru baby, ewo ebusunya chichiri ni ni group mu say. Mepese ye nyina focus on our realities and sensemo hayen. Because se obi kachiro se odi jinidi enchenche ewo nafe. Just keep on trusting. you trust him. That's why you're already here in the first place. This anka Anna. The fact say that's on any nam nature say ujiniti. Ejino obi nyafi no bi abeka kire say jinidi. Or keep on trusting. You already trust. But no cranny say ensensem bi wo ho. Anka ensensem ni free wa. Anka issue bi eni ho bi. Isn't it? And no na womo a afi na kronkron na soja wo mu no omo bene omo de no. Won say ija wo de kerosene na any inflammable we gum na opeja so mo a from the start na naje ade hu but e dru baby na fi ija no atuja na nkasa na e burning kakra. That is what actually does the magic. Eti womo a afi na omo asuja no te say mranti ya omo social media ne ade omo preachy ene evangelist okojira ho no bubum a utimi say eja no omo so ye nchei ebe kakra bi no obi say the normal and the power of the fire no ebe nedma enti as you age or you grow, the Spirit of God works in matured way because afei obete ensem biase. Iti niema akane no nanka obeka no ne ka no obehunu kwan a ode befa so. Over the period I have come to believe say ensensem bibri ewo ubia brabom enunti ena come say Christianity and Christianity is losing its value. Said ye essese esombono eso ne bono tiana eti because in sensem bibri ewo. And those realities enyonam ne reality enye me reality. Victoria the reality enye upon wa reality. What say na density? Enti it must be dealt with accordingly. There is no one measure for bia. Mr. Obed, any Mame Florence, ne Auntie Jennifer, ne Mame Perpetua, any woman a one from memoir, omu joining meeting. Ubia wono reality ni issue. Enti ebia obeba me mabrabo mu no. The first indicator na ye apomuden no, me ni problem. Me ye legit me okay. But ebia obeba me sika semu no, na me won sensem wo. Obekọ anwa na mabrabo mu no, ebia ne sika semu oni issue wo. But obeko ne love life no ebia no so issues. It is a ye wo abusua pani a de bi enkomo de ba beto ho no ebefa ebinom ho emfa ebinom ho. Won se ne ade nchie enti se enkomo bi ba na emfa wo ho a ebia wo wadwen mu no it's meeting a crowd because it was not your issue. But the truth of the matter is watch it and you didn't say already na dum sire suyo. It did not say ocheche and any day udi line is on kwadi ebedru so. And what we need to do is say we must bear with each other. For about 2 weeks now, we have all seen heated, conversations across traditional and new media. Me patch social media ne our traditional radio, TV stations. One of the topics that has never ended, lumbacology. It is a whole program at the university opese oko university na koye course bia senior wo business administration, dondology, zoology ne dia keka ho no, lumbacology so eden ababeka courses ne ho. And we have the University of Odobroni GH and so ewo. And so you can enroll into it. Has become one of the topics never baby abefebia eya brabo mun sensem obeba asafo no mu no sa asem na ekoso no obi die wom ehonum na obi die afanyansa ehonum na ma obi ani aba ne ho so ehonum na ama obi ehunu se ene na me nso me yemfom so ana meboa emrenim fo ye lawyer fo omdi omobom obi ehunu the smoothness level de esese ohunu ni ne ensese ohunu ni esese otwe ne ho firi ho ene ne ensese ene ne esese ode ne ho yeden ebata ho enti yesiese no a obia issue ewo ho most often than not so kwa sorry pa na ye chire a wadwen kura to be free edanim nenenam. But if we are addressing asemo efa ho a ubehu se wadwen no enko ba bia ebe wo hwa kusise ubedi sankomo because eno de efa ho senior density enti Yesu bae no ohun say yes me ba beboaboa edoma no akomegya nchen ono akan hello tnabia bebre wo megya fi entisa kamen kanchire mo meko no makwa kusisi baby. But he began his ministry by healing. He began the ministry by raising the dead. Now you say uwechi or sorry ubiye. Why worry yourself? But the reality is say ayubi ne baba kope. Anyway, it is a obe famia ko ejane nchen na enfam ho a odi akọ na menko pe me bana wowu no ho asem yeden enka. But then so to me ni tena se na wo ka kwara na wowu no ho asem no ni wie pe ya ba bia obeku bia obedi wachi. Oye nsenkyerene ahodo bebree ne no na Satan so trans no hu say eno ani enipa haw ensensem abrabomu nsensem enti ma mempe kwan bi so na me nso minyi enkofo a ombeye dwuma ede ama me no munkugum bebree so obese utwa counterfeiter unhia original ba akope. Now the counterfeit. Na sansensem ni nyina no esese ye pe ebia ne poma sibre. Na poma sibre no ebi o hawo de si osi ekim ekoma obia. Ebi so hawo de si ho a ekoma nipa ba ko bi. Ebi so hawo de si ho a ekoma ebusua bi. Enti madika kachire mu se enye nsem e wo Bible no mu nyina na odi ye adwuma ebeboa wo so odi ni nyina ye adwuma onsa besi fom obe disappointed because something pe ni e kachire ni se ensese oyiwan e ka wutiriwi. Ubi the reality. The obeying your man that specific instruction. It is an obe catcher me say Bible say Emma be may be a unity. Mene onya adwene Adintia. Ye kachire Samson no. Yamfa ma awo ntoatoa so. Se ye de bema awo ntoatoa so de a. Ankese se Adam abreso. Ena eba. Enye Adam abreso ne nsu yiri bae. Eye Noah abreso. But Onyankopon pese a bind the entire world into or can say we mene asase no. That means obi obeba asase su bia no. O hye sade we menti no. Ye wo realities ni bi wo ha e cover ubia. Ene wo bi nsu wo ha eye ankrankre. Ebi kura wo ha eye asafu bi keke. So steady asafu ahodo nson no a ewo bia ne krata otwero koma no. Afiso asafo osemo de baabi a mohwe ase no. Monkae na monsori nyeden yemfiri ho. Na se asafo ni suban ni se omure fi kane niema no ano moya eso Awurade ani no. Laodicea asafo oduru omuzo, which is the end time church. O se modie mahwemu amu a munyenyu monso a monyehye minyaya anka moyi nwunu anase moyehye. Ba isan se mi hu baabi a mogina nti no, I have to reject you. That was another church in the character. It don't say ohwe obia na wa address the issue. Enti wo krono no a wo bono. Enye the same measure or standard of judicial process. Because there is a reason behind the wo yen. And another person, it may be the same activity, there is a reason behind. And this had ya anke de kronphobia kujina kota. Ye beka chere say 50 years ago during Nkrumah time, ye de kronphobia by esan so ye kronfo now so ye kronfo nti. Ye ka chere say onko dem 30 years nti onso ko dem ye ni hwe ka chere wo. Is that what we do? There be. As I say ye tie ononso nasem. Won say ne ade ntie. The same chrono no be boy no kodem 30 years. The same chrono ye jai obi. The same chrono ya fine obi. Ya fine ni so ntia fine no nko. Adintia. Obia ne sedie ne nsensem etie. Okay. Enti we are going to have a simple discussion. Na ya address it because I want to address some of the issues. Meaning say enye den se wo wan kwan kohwe e wo social media. Omo be ka kire wo radio so. Se wo wan so radio enti a otena trotrom anaka mu se wo ko ba bia radio fo no beka. Na onso sebe o wa adwene a wodi bisusu no wagina baabi a opese ugina nemu sane ebe ya onkofa ohawo enti no na esese ya address some of those issues na ye pene poma sibia apomuden sikasem odasem ena enkwaji Sanye man nine enona eye all of us your realities. It is obi ni ahomka sebio yete ya ye beye meeting ebedru baby edru a wanom no se ne ho ma no ebema nada edi nkomo no krampo no ontumi nti enkusi ede ne ma ne ba ne sa oni ahomka. It is that time no bibi wo ho anka ne sa beka firi nkomo no mu a ne nsanka iti ahomete se wo ye kandifo na onim the reality of obi o se meyi mani afiri no ho na maka heavy a kire. The American what must say about the Drew baby, people think minya a message from somebody or say a fedie unkasa mfa heaven ho bio aden ena me busa ne se na chese ujitu mu se makasa fa heaven ho pen o se ai na dinti na unkasa mfa ho bio ena me kire ne se okay me den kwara be se edunum ena call class 1 ye free class 1 abedru class 2 ya bedru class 3 class 4 class 5 sam kware ya me do omshase free class 1 adinti na ya bedru GHS 3 na opese class 1 komo no na meni omo eti aden nkwara no omu nyini nature say ye repeat sa de bi omo tra class 1 sa etimedie no ye mfato kire ne say so bi bi di mechi fufura ana obeka busue ho a na maka kire ne say waba no ye din komo bibiri etwam enti on sign ne chi emano ne ye metna the same classroom ye betna the same classroom di the same lesson a obeye confused enti on sign ne chi na onkofa enkwaramu adesua no non to no bo asia de meka ne no se wante ase a ombeto yen no obeti ase untumi mfiti preko pe emfa trigonometry enkoto class 1 student anim sankonta no bedan wo be man na jai school kura chese obi jai school kura na ni nyi school chese oni ma me bebo ne se den onko adedia ade na omde ato board no so mba beche chese na ni su bri no ohu ni onye na dwen no calculate a entumi nye o senior density enti so bi eye ohwehwe Kristo echi kwan na afi no wahunu na waba ebeye den se class we na ni beche adentia ensem no aye ka no the basic knowledge of gospel no on tiasie but the watna ka ni mu no eye better se obekire no akwanju na mutu no baby a modu ene ni esese mo eye edisi unwu se me sheda nka heaven no asem a maka ho asem gu ho na so bi ewo Facebook ana YouTube ana TikTok ana any other social media platform so bi te ho na menim no a onu wotwam me so me de me ne abusua no wo fi enti wo a wotwam no me meja abusua no ho se wo a wotwam ni nti no me ba beka class 1 adesua e de a kyerɛw me nyesa nemum yewo typical evangelical work ewo ho se unse me ku crusade na me ko ye any evangelical assignment enkomo a me na ebusuafo ni di wo fie no me ni sa nkomo no abonten and there is time for everything it is a oba no beto se nkomo na ye di no into me ma will be into the concept of heaven as here ai eyi fie nkomo ni yidi nipa no omomodia na onko class 1 nonko for the basic lesson no at the same time na ebinum so ewoyemu ye free class 1 aba class 2 no mo ka ho ba ye bedru class 6 no ene ebi jai ena omoko school fufuro enti school fufuro na okoye no teacher ni na o kire wade wo ho no sene wo kire wade no o de toto de na o kire wade kane no a enye den yensunsun ye kakra be den but ubi hunu nia oye ewo mu mienu entem because sebe oye badwen ma o de die wuti wo ha no betoto de ye kire wo ha no eto de bi kurampo no a baabi a odi kan koe no foundation na ye de ma no na eye solid nti baabi a beko bia no utumi peke adesua so on say na density yes enti saa niema nan a control your life no se Nyankopon boa wo na emu bia woni hu nsensem a wo se nipa we da bia beto ayeyi no da bia wo bepese wo bekọ asori na wo call not because adie bi how o call because you have a heart filled with gratitude ayeyi ne nase enti o pese wo kọ de rade ase won say na density but obi nso ni enti e wutu na manko no there is something specific about na brabo a o pese o fix it when you bring na oku school no you want to fix just one problem uhia ahochire that's what you want to fix anameboa ensano dwuma oku sue ni nyina no you want to fix one problem sikasem o pese o fix it. That's why you taking that way. It is a honom na wo na me no enye ho na megina me de megina odo time wa se me ni usia in fact baby a wo adwenkyere ne baby a me ma adwenkyere no e different me sebe e bia me sato bibi so me hu me hu adware ewie ba wo na fe na wo ye den o fight nti enya dia wo be makwan say me twintwan wanem won't say that density. And if you are a leader, as I say, recognize uhunu sanema we nyina. Na every time you meet with your people, no, discussing the issues one by one. Send beya obi enkodwene say association na me de me ho ko join in the krampo no. I say omuyi we adoye, omuyi we de drum so anomo matra me de omu fi me. It shouldn't be like that. On that note, I want us to address one or two or three issues biblically. The kind fasi utrimu say, enye nsema yatwero Bible no mu nyina ena se wo de ye adwuma ebeboa. So First Timothy for Bible no na let's see if we can make sense of what is there. Second Timothy 3:16 no. Second Timothy 3:16 no. Yebema abusiafo ewo emframamu nyina nso akwaba. Eye Mame Perpetua, Mr. Obed, Auntie Florence, Auntie Jenny, ene womo ewo ho a omo enchena ayi womo omaye late a omo radan mu nyina sisia no. Ye mo mu nyina akwaba. Helena koye no mae. Okay. Ahano we ye krata osomafo Paul etwere edekoma ne sofo Timothy. Na Timothy kaise na oye young pastor. Oye youth. Eye osomafo Paul no na etete no no de ne koto Efeso asafo ano. Sede mu nyina mu nimu no. Ye wa asofo ni bi wo ho a me de omoko various places a omo beye big disappointment. Not just to me but to the church. Ebinum by beye complain say ehodie omuntumi entina. Samobehwe takrasia me the asofo be say 3 or 4 ene kɔ hɔ. But obi ni hɔ a otumi etenai. New abrim mama so hɔ krampo die. Asofo free baby ko nyina no. Se wanko dane ko winsenia. No wakɔ yi womanizer. Wanko yi womanizer. Na wankasa wawro na mu mpaboa. No wadwane nti me hu se de kuro ne tie no ma ha me hu amfo bia anko na mea me kotena ho until say be di free ho no. Because me mpasem se obesum obi se ko baby na nipa no ba ku e de ahyew. Eti Timothy oye sofo a Paul de ne call Efiso asafo. Na otro krata bibiri koma no baako mienu emu nsem no na edoso. So bekaya one of the things Paul catched Timothy was about Alexander the Cobridge bi Coppersmith bi owokru num. During the time Paul evangelical work or authority ano because normal build abosom eton eno the gospel na baho na ase or say ni business eti authority Paul adwuma Emma Paul dwane free honom. Eventually asafo no be established no otro krata akoma Timothy no oka ne ho asem ye den e kire ne se saa kwa ne die Awurade betua ne ka se di ne nyumate ba me ma warning was akwa ye very careful on that guy. Won't say that density. Sadie no, you cannot accept it as the word of God. And no yet the word of and no nye nyame asem. And no ye Paul ne sofo a ode nyame asafo ano. And na asem bi esi wo kurom ho. And no emfa me hu emfa ho. And no ka kire ne sofo ne say, tell me wo ho no, this and that in the sea. It in ye careful with that guy no. It ye Apostle Paul and now ne ono ne sofo edi komo. And this letter was not given to Asafono. Krata we 1st and 2nd Timothy enye Efiso Asafono ne de mano. Ye sofo no na Paul tro komano. It emunsem and na ya capture wa because it was almost a guideline. Timothy ede babe running the ministry. All sin identity. It is okay in kind 2 Timothy 3:16. Na Paul kachre Timothy say atwere nyina free Awurade homi mu ena ebae na yema enkyerɛkyerɛ enten yi entieso ne trenemu atenatene a esese ohwe asem ni yi na wanka say said the Paul kan nti bibia ya twere Bible no mu no nyame asem o say eniema ya twere ni nyina no efiri nyame hu mi mu na kyese Awurade ma kwan say yen twere ni nyina mfengu ho ena wo ba be ka say adenti no ma kwan because se wo keka ni nyina boma o si eyema nkyerɛkyerɛ ɛdeɛ bɛ nkyerɛkyerɛ onipa bia bɛ sɔre ɛwɔ abrabɔ yi mu na asɛm bi a ɔma kwan ma yɛ tworo yɛ no wobɛtumi agina so ɛde akyerɛ ni biribi eti yɛka sɛ adeɛ ne yɛma nkyerɛkyerɛ a yɛnka sɛ deɛ sii ne yɛma kyerɛ wo Nemu obetumi agina no so akyere obi biribi say look se mehwe ne esiye ewo sabri ya na mehwe ne wo so nemu ya mepese me kyere wade eti ade na oba be kyere nipa no enye exactly what happened there na oba ka kyere nipa no nemu wo gina ne esiye ne so akyere nipa no ade all right you won kofo bebre wo ho a mpompo a ebo Hezekiah no ebia bo masase supen mpompo bone egu ahodo obi tumi die ebo ni trim
obi sebe etumi bo na yase etumi bo pompombo ni tumi bo baby esuma untumi mfa duro nkoho nkoka agese we treat from within. Brodo mahaban no a ye director odifo ni se onkote no omposa mfanye moto enkoto mpombo no so no sa brodo mahaban no ebi ni Ghana ha. But adie ni see no etumi my idea say ene mpompoboni ye wone duro ho and equally ye wone duro ha. It is obi enya nantwie pompo a ye wo haban bibra yenso yetumi kote ye meka say ye Christofo ene den but ye captured in the Bible ya tworo it will be tinye gine no so say okay se Nyankopon ka kire odifo Isaiah say onkote broad mahaban emposanye ne moto emfa nkotu obi pompon so dia ene na meyare as Christo nia bibie ensi mi kwan say oduyefo and obi oye herbalist mekone nipa na den asa meyare bibie ensi mi kwan edi so kasa ye man kyerɛkyerɛ a eno nkyerɛ se ni nyina afiri nyame home mu ndi no ni nyina yi nyame asɛm da bi wa makwan se ye ntwuru ni nyina na ne ya tworo no yewo description and yewo prescription eye niema mienu sa woko hospital a you describe o kyerɛkyerɛ adekode yewo no o kyerɛkyerɛ mu e kyerɛ doctor no o kyerɛkyerɛ mu no hu adekode a no so ama prescription ono so a kyerɛ ne oba akoya saa de na wa kyerɛkyerɛ mu a kyerɛ no ebe ye free ho enti ye won sem bibiri ewo Bible no mu a ya twetwera eyi obi ade oye ne ye describe ba ye nka nkyere wo se wo nsuko ye bi won say na identity ye describe with ya record they said na me kire the other time no ya recording the pepepe. Enti me I will write an autobiography. Autobiography say me a metro me honsem edi ato. Enipa bibiri atro mo autobiographies edi egu ho. Ena ye kenkan form. When you read those ensem na watchra fan ho na osiko na koyibi. Ah, good. Nemo oka sende be ya obi hu ne ono ye den efem na se obetumi agina so asua bibi afiri mu a na wasua se obetumi agina so atu anamo bi a na watu bi ebetumi ama o idea bi na o de ayibri bi enti osomafo Paul ekakire Timothy say ensem no a ye de abrewo no ana enwoma na wukuta no fashe butirimu say ni nyina efiri nyame hu mi mu ono ana o inspire enkofo say omontworo na adi nti no yesa eno say eyema nkyerɛkyerɛ very important eno san ka say eyema enten say uyi obi aten utumi gire so ka say ade a woyi die ebi asipen esi wo hefa asomasi ana obentin ade si no ye ni free mu ba ye nie enti ade a sebe ye mpanifo so bube aka se dua ananse ade ewu no enti kuma ontena sinkotonku wo enti ade no de menye sure say oya ebeboa cause the same thing obi aye bi pen amwa. And so the same thing will be beye ebeboa anameboa. It is okase eyema enkyerɛkyerɛ. There are aspects of the Bible na ebitimi gina so teach. It is all better say be ye teachings bi. Now feel say teachings no meye no. Ye ni any hypothetical and say strict Bible references wo hɔ a. Ese say wotena si kum na hunu say ensem ni ye tworo ye no eno bi na me gyina so de akyere enefo wo mo ene o ma beto me say look every bi atwam 3000 years ago ade we ni see na Nyankopon ma kwan say ye ntworo nto ho nenne no me hwe se de yen so ya setena ne tie no a betumi hu se ade we se ya nye ni see a emwa yen eno nkyere se exactly what happened no ensi ne de enti a eto da bi a me hu ni say womo a te say I think last week or last 2 weeks woman no dey message by na Mr. Ubed actually say she was rather criticizing the entire I don't go there and say the fact of the matter ye can someone ubetumi akasa bebre but at the end of the day asem no itiri the fact in the woman no and ye dey adwuma the fact ne say eye oba ba akope ena ukudi the forbidden fruit. But adie no ye no aba benye nsunsuanso wo man nyina so beboa good edisa oba na me ka kire a group of women a o ma ba behia say adie no a Eve ye no enye nsunsuanso wo e man nyina so but adie na wo ye no enye nsunsuanso wo man nyina so a ejina adekodi a wo ye ma minchirim bema ekosom bosoma na okodi busum achi a ekọ awonto atoaso ninya so se ne baba o se ne baba ma o but oba ekodi busum achi a eyono nko anasem ifri se ono o produce oni lineage ono eni awonto atoaso but se asafo no ekodi abosonsum achi a ewo nsusuanso wo memma ne man nyina so adedia eba na safo no a oye oba spiritual woman ena enkom sene sei oba na sifo ede aba ebebo owoniti saa oba na sifo no oba ni asifo eji saa sem no se wo wante ase no hu ni sei nipa no a oka na sem no nye oba asin physical oba na obeto se me kireke se wo abosonsom no enye nsusuaso obi aso na Eve koye we no enya obi a you get it all wrong echi enkirekire no egu ahodo ensem no ebi ye man kirekire ebi ye ma atenyi enti se me koto asem ni bi so na me kenkan na bi gina so e de a kire enefo me generation because at the time one and since 3,000 years ago no there was no democracy kabi mama kabi sabre no osofo na odifo bi koka asem a obi an challenge no enne koka asem enkwaran ketu a ye wom na wo no omasua nwoma kokenkan ni me bi redi ya research bi obeba be ka kire wo say entisa right. It means that you deal with the situations as they are, not as they were. Ahaban baako na application dwuma yedidi eye different. Ahaban baako. Na otwetwem na code, serious code pa na when I'm exposed to allergic scent me nyasa code no a bibie ni ho a ebe onum edura enko inhaler emfa kusise eno a bra noko but na you too much nti me kotena chemist ti an opetutu me sorry pe na me kote tami ewu ahaban ne baako na me be pusai ena me de asawa ebo nsu na me de soy me hwani me within 15 minutes na me hwani mu nyina da ho that ahaban no a ye woni oka no saa wagashi yesisi wi eno so odi so a saa obenwansi saa no eyi amama ni nyina de afiri mu but ebia sa wo different purposes it is all better se me kirekire ade bi dia fa tami ewu ho na eno nye nkyerɛkyerɛ a unye free obi hɔ a ɛma ne nya wadwen sɛ deɛ wunnimu no ɛhɔ a na ɛpem adeɛ baako na but different dimensions saa na twerɛ no mu nsɛm no ɛteɛ asɛm baako no a obi bɛgyina so de aka asɛm bi a wow de bɛba wabrabɔ mu tumi sɛ asɛm a nipa yi kan deɛ mmea masɛm na ɔyɛ den ɔka ade nti ne yɛtumi de ebinom ho asɛm a yɛtwerɛ wɔ Bible no mu no ɛyɛ mfato ho ma ebinom ne because ɛyɛ ma nkyerɛkyerɛ na saa nsɛm no nso yɛtumi gyina so de yɛ correction de ka nipa anim fiti tekyerɛkyerɛ de ɛna yɛwɔ ne mmarima atitiriw against mmaa na wohwɛ the class of mmaa yɛwɔ ne wɔn against a yɛwɔ ne wɔn against mmaa nwamanfo it means sɛ ɔbrane bi a na otitiriw bi sɔre a ɛnyɛ mmaa nyinaa na yɛwɔ ne no against patro deɛ meka wade aseɛ mmaa no there is a special group because wɔn yɛ de wɔn hwi wɔn nyinaa no in the case of your friend is saying Samson yɛbɛhu sɛ ɔbaa no na yɛakye ne maame ne papa ne n'abusuafoɔ akɔ akɔsie ɛna yɛfrɛ ne ka kyerɛ sɛ wɔanyi wo ko ama a yɛbɛku w'abusuafoɔ eti ɛno kyerɛw mmaa bi su sɛ yɛwɔ ɔbaa bi wɔ hɔ a ɛba no n'abusua a obɛyi wo ama ɔbɛ neglect wo eti forget it woyɛ ɔbrɛmpɔn a saa baa ne bi ɛnkɔ ho ɛno no yɛ Delilah su woba Jezebel was a wonderful wife. She was a perfect wife for Ahab. Oba ben ana bema ben wo wiase we mu a ade a opese oye na ontumi nye obede nyane no na ne yira ya ama no opese okwa burukyiri waya emfa owa na ne yire de ne passport abaje makwaje visa na manko bema ben no pesa aba no. Hello, that was the kind of wife for Ahab. No worry. His wife was a good wife. Abrabo any ni opeso nya wa abrabo mu no so no be ma na ntumi a oba no de pre agye den. Edi man, is that a bad wife? No. But you see, because of what Jezebel did, raising one man by destroying another man is what brought the issue. He had to kill a man for a man. Na sebe me pew. Unim se me pew. Also pe me. And now ope say, oboa me. Must you go and kill somebody just to prove say ope me? And I said, the day at the end best sano. Obedu ubekumi so amobi. I mean, so it's normal. It a honum na issue near day. It is how Bana may catch it or say Jezebel wasn't a bad wife. She was a perfect wife. She was a perfect wife for Ahab. But ye children ye story no. Ye to me who near course say Oba utumi say bema bako for another man. Da the attention na kuma best shifting also or best sell for another person. That kind of woman will stay aware. Obana obeto se make asase mu ya men kan kire me say Bible ni me hifana ochro say oba o say bema you are not correct because ochro sem ne say eyeman kirekire eyema ati it is say me ko oba akwa akope oba say me hwe the kind of oba me ko akose ne pe na me mfa ntoto ema hodo no a isisi bese 3000 ago no omumudie hi bi ena saaba na mepe no ohye na me fentu mi hofo o se ne identity obi kyerɛkyerɛ sɛ oyɛ bɛɛma nenne o kwa akɔware na ɔbaa no oni ne ho hwe a run away join the life man kɔ ɔbaa ni ne ho hwe a kɔ mepa kyɛw yɛdi Eve ebre Adam no wɔ ne ho dɛn na ɛdɛn no wɔ oni ne ho hwe everything was the man's bibia na ebe man dia edi on what grounds ene nipa no ede ka se ukɔpɛ ɔbaa na oni ne ho hwe a Jan one kopedi at least or no so be to me aboa. And the person was arguing say your friend or life partner nature say on your life burden or your life partner ye partnership and nature say who bibia or deba and I'm who bibia medeba. But I think said the word partner no, it can be a subject, it can be a verb. It depends on how you use it. Into a life partner no, ubetumi your partner be a oni hwe. But the old one or the nim dear any ne futu and ne home obi owa sabi oni nim dear but the spirit no den namono or the bata everything works for you. At the same time, or baby one the spirit or the bata everything goes down. Eti ewoni enti nipa ne ka se ukoto oba na ukope oba na uni ne ho hwea jano ewoni enti a ode kasa ne che se bibi esi ensi baako ensi mienu ensi mieso de nani atofom no ede ene wahunu eti inka the next world no ye tro bible a ubehu sensensem ni bia esi wo yen apensu we are going to capture them and also be ye ma enkyerɛkyerɛ ni ate di ama the other generation no a eba no ba ye die na ye nya ntwerɛ no ogyira so ede ka asɛm a obɛka sɛ ɔyɛ demonic teachings. Esonye bibia no you eye niema ohu no nei ene ne esisi ene oye den oka ho asem. Now this lumbacology that we are talking about, if you take time na wutie the lyrical content of Ninyum ni Biblia, you wonder say this guy was he a prophet? Because far back 1999 Enyoma at the age of 30 abranchi ebo. No, look at the makramo. And yet, that was the Genesis. Asase kra. Mahumine. Aha. And meba one will say, I just want to draw your attention to something. Sanyum no boy no. The question is who then it is not true sanyum no. Mo manenye na mekra media reho na me sama me sama ntwentwen. It is exactly what has happened. So he is a prophet. Believe it or not, he's a prophet. Osha the life olivu yenwa with all the saga na ekosonwa. There are so many silent lessons. It is only wisdom. What am I talking about? We never have seen any video or any commentary. Say Sebiolumba Tamano Kuskuno no ye masem Obia meka bida. Tamano ni Teresa abebrese ewohono no de masem ha Teresa. Onye bida. The ma Teresa busunya de Teresa ma bema fufra wari ne say oboa no de ne ko jeme no mo ntene nka eti abusunya no dwen say we betray no. That was when they gave him out, and from Lumba has regretted that episode because ne do ba akopeni Teresa. We never heard anybody complain during that period say oye masem. In fact, we have not heard minim se what dia from Odobroni camp say or say Lumba de masem tete no. The question is eyedena akosia say wan kwa de everybody is saying say or the masem tete no. That is the question I will ask. What happened? On tesa on yesa ne life we ye hunisa oba we ye hunisa oba we eyedena won kwa de hunisa. Then what is the problem? What did you do? What happened? What pushed him? You need to ask the question. Silent patterns. But when we say everybody will be quick to look at the superficial or all these issues that have been brought up, now we are rejecting the important. I saw a post on Facebook. Obviously, any man who supports Odobroni is a womanizer. That is a shallow-minded person. woyɛ bɛrima ɔmfa ɔbaa ɔmmerante bere mu ɔbɛboa wo wofa ɔbaa ɔnkɔkora bom ɔmmerɛyɛ mu ɔbɛboa wo deɛ ɔbɛboa ɔmmerante bie mu aboroa wo wɔ ɔnkɔkora bom ɛno ne ɔbaa wofa no ɛdi sɛ ɔbaa no bɛtumi aboa wo ɔmmerante bere mu na ɔnkɔkora bom ɔntumi mmoa wo a na ɔbɛgya wo hɔ sɛ waa go a I have seen aborɔfo ɛma ɔmo kunu nom ti ɔma relocate free kuro papa mu aba bɛtena kuro bɔne mu. I have seen white people. It's a decision, it's a choice. Deɛ ɔbɛyɛ no ɛne bi free maba nsusuaso na ɔbɛfa. So you don't expect me to follow somebody blindly. What's my point? The point they say asɛm bi ɛwɔ ha no this Bible no mepɛ sɛ wogye tum na wote aseɛ sɛ yɛama kwan sɛ yɛntwuro ne nyinaa but ɛnyɛ ne nyinaa na ɛyɛ applicable yɛakyerɛw sɛ fa bɔbra anaa akɔyɛ bi na emu yɛaka ɛti yɛaka no sɛ obi abrabɔ na ɔbɔɔyɛ a mɛtumi agyina so de atufo mɛtumi agyina so de ayɛ nkyerɛkyerɛ ɛti ɔnte da sɛ Yesu ɛyɛ saa nkyerɛkyerɛ no ɛti woba bɛ question sɛ na wei so ɛka gospel no ho yɛka nyame asɛm a wei so yi nyame asɛm but of course why na Nyankopɔn ka kyerɛ ne sɛ hwɛ o maame deɛ ɔde yɛ o papa ni ɛti bɛrima bi a wɔba kɔware no yɛ steady wɔ no why na Nyankopɔn aba bɛka saa asɛm de akyerɛ no because it cannot ever be nyame asɛm. God will not do that. Wa ni nemu na ko husuban ne ne na no watu hofo. Ana ameboa. Enti let us in one accord ehunu say yewo enkomo bibri under the realities of life. Yebedia it is not somebody's reality. Eti enyo no nabra bomu nsensem no onye ni edi sa unbelief na nipa ne dan na di no it shouldn't be your problem so no nyi ni say ye wo wasem but you dey make am what you say obi wo ye ne dan onye beyi eni say beyi e wo ho ana ye bribi because no onyi sa experience no onye exposed. But so free baby a mimi free banwa. Ubebu ni se nipa nkwasasem na okeka. Adentia because you have felt it. And yes, when you know ye diu what to me think kasen kofui oma mafia me. It is to you, no, when we are talking about witchcraft, you will appreciate it. But to another person, it is absolute nonsense. And non tresa o kotise sofo bi ete afidie bi so na o kyerɛkyerɛ ana o kasafa beyi ho a we se akwa wo firi nyame we enye biblical enye we no we don't have to do that because there's no class as isi awugina and there's no class as isi ebinumo so bra nebo eye simpler anka papa shi ono so bobra so ni lumba ne shasi oso otunuma o samano etu nim ne pa adidi na ono so mobra so eso lumba reality ono lumba no hwe ne life steady no a from the start of the life to the end Nyankopon siesie ma say omomoa no kwaku me shebrente sa obabesia to me tam no ko Germany sabre na me pe UK ko no obabesia tam me ko ya kametia kasa kire mo baby e won se ne density enti ye wo bi wo wa e ne reality o wo man hu luck o baby bia no meti se sofo bi preach say wo ye bema empene ma oba amwa na da oni obinya asem no eya no kore woni wahunu nti no so kasa but meme bi so o ma bi hu luck baby a beba ne life be no page na free 1 equal 2 the oba de ne free 2 go 3 and so some many nyina no enyo omo na onyo omo ye den ewo ho. So you see baby a wugina ni baby a migina no wo reality enye me reality se wo utua tight na wo say eso ni mfa so ma wa that is obi so the opposite because obi so ono so hu die wonye free sa adwumadi anim enti ontumi mfa wo de ne ma me hye obi so say ade we no kure bi anim no kure nim ma wa eye wo but enye general ade a affect obi a but okotro ni mu a eye very clear the onyame aka ene die nipa eden eka say ye nipa na eka dia yes ye nyina ye kenka we know say ade we send your somafo Paul eka say we enye rade eye me no ka ye beji atum enti your reality can never be somebody's reality. Metier a lot of interviews after one issue apart from lumbacology because lumba issue and kofa sa issue no edebai ene aware dodo se obema eware ema bebri asofo no bebri now have agreed to say enye bone. The Bible has not condemned it. In fact, nyankopon any problem biya wo. He gave a lot of instances, and a lot of people who are, and a lot of women who are in the system now, no, married men and no more power because married men are responsible and all of that. They've raised a whole lot of argument. One thing I keep telling them, they say, you are telling our reality. Ye no kre, ye no kre, and a walker. Of course. Another woman confess or worry a single person no when you happy da or bonus in woman you know a police case is be but if he's a second wife at the man another man she has enjoyed them, she has had peace. That is the person's reality. Ubi so a second wife Emma I'm one it won't to me mekan chire and say ubi a second wife na boa dintino. Can you do that? You can't do that. You can't do that. Enti sheyi ena ama utrim da say asumesi in the life no woman de many brave life many just say seminya wabra boy bi pa na aya o kaka say minya wo hawo e bata huni bi pa eno de aya na refi because you only see one side of the coin. See what you see, but the other side of the coin you're not looking at it, and that is why I want us to pay close attention to some of the issues critically yaye busuafo yi esese isua ade free. Mumudu do he be register for this course lumbacology. You register for that course program lumbacology. Say what do we do? We sing ye tonyum bo ekutia ye tonyum dase ye tonyum show appreciation gratitude ye tonyum in fact ye bibia de nyum na ena ye wunsu a ye ma ye chi ebe ye manson ne ye nkwa ni wu a ye de abusua pani kokot lumbacology. Diedikai. Let us pick this polygamy. Eye aware dodo. Obeka wo no kore. Acheremi. Enye di ubika wo no kore. Auntie Joyce. Onokre pa ne saying wo obepene so se oba koto aware so anase ukunu ebe ware bi ede aka wo ho so ware bi ka ho a wo problem uni problem obekoso atena ho ontena ho na so ye na sedi nyina nso ma pepepa give me your position pepese ubia eka the hwe legal wife ana odobroni issue asemo wo ka wo nokre ka wo nokre me mpese wo be choose mu ba ku efa aware dodo ho no wo wadwen wo wabrabo na wo bo no wo pese wo ye ne sen you love it you don't like it na se wani je ho a aden wani nye ho so a aden ti na wani nye ho that goes to ye nyina ye won framem ai ye won framem nyina what's your position both male and female a man and meme nyina what's your position Auntie Joyce wani nye ho adentia mbacho say aha ebi ne enkomre nyina no I believe say nie ntia na nyi ho no ebegyina ne wate ne wahunu eso ebia abusuam ebi obi abusua ebia nadamfo se de meka wate asie enti Yesu eka waresem no eduru baabi o sei ye wo a omonware enipa bi na ye omosa adiji no say enipa bi na ye omosa because said the ababa we na oyigina ne naso na aware bi atumi ama na ye tantantan sa no ena me ha me ho ware that was what he meant by enipa bi na ye ne sa ne atutu nipa bi nti o say I won't do it. Enyo. In all of this, what is your position? From experience, no. From experience, oh, no. And I'm sure says I experience we enye Bible mu experience but near wo wunyi ye wo by waba bi hunu. Mami antireta also Debbie opesa otina wa kote Dave yes and yes I will can say be a man I yes of what do man yes I will because one will say no cremne say eto de bia say nya sorry no a enye asori no a akobi be yebribi ba sorry ni nti apɛ no wo yire a onka nkyere so wo yire no de asi asori ni nti that one day on famem cry any me a single meanwhile onim say our family asori ni nti and this asori ni nti no to be honest double lives hypocrisy yes Dave kaso no de aware dodo no odidi na bibi nsi ni kwan a eni bia ye de behwe no. Oh yes, of course. Eni tu no hofo bibi aka me ho. What we want him to do is Uncle Kanokore. Obesanko as a single person. And the moment you are not truthful to yourself, when to me ni no krama ho a, to me ni no krama obia. Aden. Eden wo ni eden wako.
But to be honest, me as a person and as an individual, like, me need sa, me just sa, Emma, you said no, everything. Because if you buy food crime, a bed, say me to me, more time, not to talk to. About some, me to me,
Who need to say? Who needs ska? A bit in Yamu when you're daddy in our Casas.
good, and it's counsel between as a set position. But me in particular, me need person. Like, Nipa boss of how one, I'm going to me, yes, I and then, as I say, give the play, miss her, then we pay. And look at James one. So, over marrying myself, who are you? Olu na ebe wo dachi man na wa wo ha na afani afani e omutumi de wa ha aba take example the Christians and Muslims the life of Ishmael and Isaac ye how ni en ko na abona e fiba ti de mon e matiti and the ko e mama ni ni e mo brother and my main answer would be 7 minutes.
So, what experience no wow. Yo, Mate. Vic.
To me, because the level grab sister and women are waiting and say, I do it.
Agility. Ose wakoma na enye papa jara no ayede na wakobu nipa no nyasa wakobu hwan oba na na abem Yes, Abi. There be na when the catcher will say a binom family and then I or Muja so be. Eti bako no and all your more full time. INT'L
Yerhadie. Eba ni siya. Esese ye hwe die Onyankopon epe. Ene die enipa eye. Every say ewo die Awurade pe. Ene wo nia ye ewa asase so ha. From the beginning, a year asase no ano. Say, adena network yi hadwin sa. I hope say it will not disturb or more work. More one from no me who say network no ebububu nani nti. We more na wa refresh o screen send be ya. Onkoka echiri. So share the ekoso ewo ɔman mu no a ɛsɛ sɛ obiara hunu baabi a ɔno wogyina ɛsiane sɛ Nyankopɔn ɛwɔ ne ɔpɛ ɛna woba asase so a circumstances na yɛ a wobɛtɔ no ɛtumi kyerɛw ne ɛwo nso wonyɛ at a given point. Hwɛ sɛ maame anɔpa yi na metie ne testimony no ɔno deɛ ɔse obie no obetumi aka kyerɛ ne sɛ ma ne nkɔtɔ awareɛ so because ɛhɔnom no nya n'asomdwie. Single person ware no nene wo mienu wanya asomdwie da n'ani anye da kɔsi sɛ ɔkɔtɔ awareɛ so. This is somebody's experience. Oh, say that density. Obeta tie emaya no maba no bebre a omo kase. So omo ne awarefo mema ne twempna. Aya eboa omo sene single for no. But obekon so no obi nso sei me die obi kun die. Ebi ana de okase obi kunu die. Eye preaching bi a sofo bi preachi e wa sorry ena ema ne kasa enti asori ni nti onye obi nso ebi a na okọ obi ku na de di ye no ena ama ati nani so. It will say we have a group of people who are not going to do that because of our personal experience. Okọ obi ku ne de aye no. Any will be so wono no nka ehonum no beko. But then asori na preachi say enye. Asori ni nti no ama watwen asensan. But we share the year very dangerous for us. Ekoye asori ni nti. It is obie ni hɔ a ɔhwɛ wa obeya enene no ehu edemaye. Now, enye ho ene yemi issue. Baby a yemi issue sisia no eye the interpretation asofo binum edeba concerning polygamous relationships. Se wo obeya manenso wa woso. E manen koye say Awurade foa so it will be any bi. Se me ware ema mienu miensa enan a. Ese se me ma mansan ti se eye me ena me ware mienu miensa enye se Awurade foa so ana osoro agitum. Menim se de make what you see. Now from the beginning Onyankopɔn ye obia baako eno de koma obema baako aware dodoɔ ene aware gyaye ebaye because aware dodoɔ enam aware gyaye so na aware dodoɔ eba. It is all this Pharisee for no ko bisa Yesu question ewo Matthew 19 ɛfa awaregyaye sɛ bibia nti yenya yere ne enware foforo a na Yesu ka sɛ makoma dinti na Moses ɛhyɛ mo sɛ munyae mo yere na mo nware foforo na from the beginning ne deɛ ɔbaa baako bɛrima baako meaning say na ɔbaa foforo bi ni hɔ a Adam betumi akɔfa na ka ne yere ho. And so that was the original blueprint and a guideline. But over the period we saw men na onyankopɔn ne ɔmo namo a wɔmo violate saa one man one woman so over the period yehunu ye. Now the reality is oye ne den polygamy entwam eno ne nokre wo oye ne den yebewo mema omo befa ema more than one entwam ebekoso wo ho kusi say asasi we be say osoro be free ho bibie ntumi sisa no we will have polygamous relationships. Oye ne den Nemo no, the question we need to ask ourselves is bribena saa de ne hyase eye briben eye bra na onipa ahwe ase bra na saa righteousness onyankopon ani onyam no a cover onipa wo no bra na onyankopon glory kate nipa wo no at the time when onipa ni nyankopon ejina the same level of understanding no Nini ho bra onipa te ni ho free Awurade nkyɛn ɛna onipa kɔ saa te bien with Lamech, who is a descendant of Cain, ɛna ɔbɛhyɛ aseɛ ɛware bienu. Eti the time wa polygamy hyɛ aseɛ no yɛ very important. Ɛyɛ bra na onipa ahwe ase. Eti onipa hwe aseɛ mu since that time no and a polygamy abeye part of us. Enye unyankopon enhyehyeye. This is a fact. The school of lumbacology, no, we are not endorsing say obi de ninsusuye etai odobroni echia. Now yes of na yes say or you're writer. That is not to say we are endorsing polygamy. There be nemo asemna abano. Ye share the facts of the matter. Send yisi worry. Because se edan wo paya and a tefre it will be real. It is the circumstances surrounding Odobroni being a wife to Lumbano. And nona se osofo bi ka se ota Odobroni echia ye free enye the biblical concept. Eti emasofo bi anochirichiri ni bi emane meye say because ye supporting Odobroni ntino we are endorsing polygamous marriage. In fact, the fact of the matter, sa lumbacology, will say, for 17 years, the supposed wife was absent. Diana or say or yo yireno, na yehunu obebia. And so as a man, he decided to go and have another woman. Which is or no the decision. It was not God's decision. It doesn't change the original plan of God. Those period na ewonientia omoware dodo. Yemfa Abraham ne Israel ni bibia nto nkyɛn na yemra yen akasa yen nananom na kuyadwuma ene yeye na kuyadwuma no nso no so obetumi aye ne kese a agye sɛ nsa no ɛdɔɔso beboa enti omo reality no kra na gino manim ne say so obetumi ye efu kese a obakofo ahode nye den edumi ene wo ma bebredi a obetumi ye efu ne kese. It one of the motivating factors was we needed a lot of hands to work. Iti cocoa cratching no ana cocoa farmer no the cocoa kese no a utumi ye ni ye because of big family size abusua ne so ne madoso. Okay, it is one of the motivating factors and na emma mo ware emma ni bi ka ho eye emma dodo a na omo pe. It is when we say emma dodo no se oba ba ko no kase metumi a wo sa 20 no e de amawa na ade a menya free emanum ho oba ko se odi ni nyina be ma me a se ntontom be na sifia ko na mframa ha bono eti ekowie. The reality no krepe woman say oba baako enkwara ndum nkwara nsia ifiade yo enkwara hwe won beko school chese ade nsa no na wabre o companso no papa no all season or you ready every time or you ready or sparky engine o betwetwe wo ho ensensem bibri. At the end of the day no a ekoso the way a ontumi nya enjoyment no ne no kore na ekire ne say oba ba akunye enough eno nkire say eyewrade na asesa original plan. Me pese ye nya the facts and the matters right. Emma will be emfa semu nhye wrade da. Se wo wabrabo na obo no reality no na emma wakoye saa eyewo. But mayemfa ekam emeka ewrade simply because eno ye no kore aye de tie. I've listened to a lot of arguments and one soft will be aje jinamu promoti say aware dodo enye bone ewrade gitum. In fact, horribly ne witnesses ne baako be koti Isaiah 4:1 say odiifo nyamedifo kra hyenkom say ebre bi ba Emma 7 ebeso bema baakum se ware. You see where somebody's inspiration enna odiifo no apostle kono ekenkan quotation no eno no de neche wenya a point of argument. But when we say that assemble wo no emfa hunam fem nkomo a yedi ho, in fact it is just metaphorical. A asemu a ye kade akiri bribi enye saa de kode no ane ye ka ho asem. It is when we say they have gotten it all wrong. Ebiu Jacob ye Jacob, I have already taken time to explain the event, you know, say it was circumstantial. Is it true, say Jacob really wanted to marry the two women? Oh yeah, back on one day, catch one day no ye you my ye. Why ye Rachel one day. Oko honeymoon near the oba brain and I do not know the chin who anymore. Ne ye ya one who say and ye Rachel so they on one as them. A yelia mona and no call new of one say I didn't know what that me. What see me? And your bow winner me no one day. Here, Rachel. And sana ye babe catcher say the culture a mamre ne makwan say ketwa be ware wo bra pani. It is a ope ketwa no dia san twa ne ho a ono so wa de ansa na wanya no eno no so ketwa no pe no nye panini no pe it is ohwe Jacob the situation no ko mu no a enye ono ne call for polygamous marriage nemo it was circumstantial enye panini no pe no ketwa no no aye no ho ade atwa no ka but asimbi ne ma ne koba ne saa ena obi raise argument say ene ade nti na Nyankopon ankasa ho ena me ka kire say hwe Nyankopon hu nipesu ene ne ban emra wo de baye fo aware dodo se wo ware ma mienu ana miensa do mu nyina pe yobi asede ma no amosi di samra ni nyina baye no Onyankopon fa samra na ma se ode support you demo ode by say se ne be ya nipa ni nipa ntema so dwinti ode mra beto wo say monfa regulate mo amaware ma bebre no monfa samra we en regulate mo ho. That was not an endorsement. Now mami musa mo question Yakopon ka kire Samuel say onsra Saul engo no mediade meboa Yakopon ena eyi Saul mawo eyi nipa no a but see no problem say eno na mo decide say mbe ya no problem me shara so dia mamo name it will come with consequences at the and how and in sunsuans one and nam na mu besu afrem da mu besu afrem no mun kai hunu sei enyame na mede no emamo ba na Nyankopon ma Samuel kwan sei onsra ne ngo emfama oman na oni Israel so hene the issues that are associated so share the entire scripture no for every polygamous person you will be or practicing polygamy biano there were issues and if you go into it there are regulations or the ma wo mo ye ekwa aware dodo en seseye da ho nemo no ni efri mu ba no you don't blame anybody. Hey, David etumi manage ne de oni awrade enyasem ne de no said your manage no e de o how breno na busua because o hwe weima ne dru baby ayi Amnon ne nua ba ekodaye edidi mu na Absalom ebeku Amnon chese se de ma Amnon enya kukudu ye san say na say ye one father by different mothers enei sa ade no ama akwara we omutene fie we akwara we omutene fie fufurum obi enim ne ho eno makwa akohia wa kwantium omukohia wa kwantium no omakwa akoto odontentem afei na omaba fie say after the omoye nyina no omaba fie say oba me pese me ware ni ko abomusio unuani me ba papa baako jese mamefo no na different ena we te ha eti o ha obi ebifiri maba no Nyankopon na ye debi yen enti that practice no God will never endorse it. Nemu no he has already given us on a plan originally from the beginning. Enti se yen ya brabo mu nsensem ama saade no ne yentia emma ubi enkuti sofu bi nyintum se Awurade e support it there be ana Awurade aye endorsement there be eye obia ne de oyeye ena wama ya tworo ena problem every mu ba ye bia so ye den ya tworo se ne be ya wo odi betu hofo atwere nyina firi nyame hu mu wama kwan eyema enkyerɛkyerɛ atenyi efutuo any nyamimu entity training kwanso tete. I want to state emphatically say, anybody that is saying say erade and polygamy is not a sin. Sin may not be enchre say a God's original plan. Debbie. They have this argument. Now say David. Nathan ekoyi nintendo catcher say erade say men catcher say ka ope ebikura kanwa. Okanya anka me de bema wo. Adi ntina wakwa akufa obinide. Now, how can you even think, say, by that utterance, no, Nyankopon peso chere say go betumi amanu more wives? How can you even enti wakuwia enam every enkwem? Ena o ma make us na say enam me ma obi we. O ka chere me asenka meme obi aka wade ji na wo kwakuwia. Does it mean say you can go and ask your mother is supporting say wakuwia nam every enkwem? Debi eye asem na eye abebu o kan wasem. Eye asem pa na ne ka David. Na asem na ne ka no ne ka dia connect obire. Wanka amfama single and polygamy. Eye obi ne yire. Enti na ne Nyankopon ka ne say so kan ya senka me di bi beka ho. The emphasis is on obiyire David Eden akofa. Enye say nyame support say obema no ayire no bebre. No way. It is all ye bema na o life situation no o per se o kosate bi enimu a emfa nkose nyame. Ena emfa nkose wo mu edi kan ye wo Bible no. Because omo edi kan ye wo Bible a descriptive writings. Yam prescribe one farm out say ubi ya nyibi. And this idea anka Solomon so no one manage ni die. Wa ni ko wi no. But David manage ni die. Ema Nyankopon ka kire ne say o ye nadamfo otenakoma ho. But Solomon couldn't manage it. Aware dodo no obi atumi manage when you need peace, it will not soon be. Obi so a destroy no, a cause a lot of pain. What you see? Our tosso no, ama o baby any a obo di come over and I say, enter my ye see Kim, a moment you team up a kumbemano, and no mafa japadi and what was it. But the same our tosso and the otank siabeto a man you be and them. It is a war bay in the be yamawa, fine. It is your case. But I won't say the day. But a cocano baby a man in yes say okotwa warriors no akoyi ama wudino ebeku ye dia mobia. Elephantias you. Elephantias me. Abwe bia be didi akode na so be den ebejo no. To be honest, over the phone last week muho. Na many ababa we be kasa na mbusa say na wo ye team legal wife and also support odobroni. And also support odobroni na make kire say ade chia. Baba bi hu na busuafo no maye no ho ade. Se wo support odobroni nko ade me ware no. Ade ndi na make kasa. Make kasa not because me pese me ware oba eka eyire ho. Nemu no eyasem na me de make say oba otina bema ho awari wo ne mre oye brimu no oyoba esese ye ware no de me pese na meka no ase but man kanisa ena me say o supporting dia me ware. You see this polygamous relationship esese ye nyina ye hu se no kore ba ko bi wo so yoba oni bema we wo ho oni bema we ho oni bema we wo ho a e dia somdwe brɛ wo obeye otrofo Hello. Obeye, because from biblical point of view, the BC reality, you can have obema or fa ema ahodo, but sewoba efe mema ahodo at the same time. It has never happened in the history of Enkofua Omni Radin 93,000 years ago. Yenti bida ewo atredim. Yati bida. Because of that, intino, ebinum a conclude say, eye bema mung ne sawa oba mung na osawariye bema nsawariye. Uhwe ya mamre nso afri titintire de yensin kunya say obema kwa kofa ne yire tintin na nanom ne mpanifo asin kunya yensin kunya but oba ekofa ni kunu echi a yensin kunya. Ejo say ye ya mamre ni reality no, it points to the fact say we support polygamy. Marriage certificate no, so your ban one day with fee now ko sign a registry. You mount that green and white certificate. That green and white nature say, we bet you me a waribia day. Akahon. It is from the cultural point of view, no. Yadia to say our redo and your body. That is our culture. That is not the divine precept. But what you want to say? If you want to live according to the will of God, please bear in mind it is not a polygamous relationship. At every given point in time, your wife must be one. It must be one. Untumin ko busuya we ho. Enko ye oba we ho ade say me de ne ba beka me yire ho. Se wo yesa eno nye unyankopon na ma wo kwan eno ye wo a wo nipa no na wo ye wade. Eti okọ ne saa ne be free ma ba bia no eye wo a. Emfa me hye rade. Eho no obi ate no ho ase. Hello. Enna awarijaye no so ho asem no fa se utiri mu sei Bible aka ho asem na Bible ka ho asem na Farisifo ko busa ayi Yesu say asem bi enti ubetumi agya wo yire no o se da bi na emu nsenye oba no aware seye adwaman na oba na ebo ena wugya na akọware fofora ene na ne oware oba na yegya no wama na ono so abeye oware se ni meaning say oba no efa ni kunachi dia ene ubetumi akọ akọgya no. In other words, what they are trying to say is say oba no na adwaman mo no eda ne so aware seye no oba ne eda ne so enye be ma ne eda ne so, and that is the truth. Say aware seye no ena be ma ne so eda oba no so oba no wa akọ akọbọ adwaman no. That is the biblical written truth. But the question we must ask ourselves is say, what is good for the goose? Isn't it good for the ganders? Nyan yebu beka say ba yedebo techino yedebo ba. Hello. Yei. Enti at the end of the day no, ese won so nipa formula ene na isese no. E the problems ye den eba. Problems ne ba esan se wo ye nipa na wo ye nipa de enti no fa enkobo mpaye deal with it. But don't be problem be there ene no nyankopon de na ode chi wo no no wan fa problem bi anye den anka ho iti koye no na wasumu nye den. But if you don't want peace na open problem there, also go and learn yanim dia problem ne ba o de be den o de be solve. So why ne sa now the sobo bebo asori say the reason why ma bibri tare amanfo kunu is because there is excess of women. A man na doso now we are United Nations the report about say we live in the times of men deficit. Let's just say a member shortage worldwide. A member shortage worldwide. What does that got to do with God? Because a member back will be to me 20, 30, 50. And a mayor almost say member not short no or warren no so on 50 years or say hey for we. Eti oba bewo boys. No, your friend is saying girl. And the member no omuguo. Now the utianye waba bewo girls. One boy. This a man yet 20. Ubia son the obewo just 3. And a woman 3. Ubia wo boy. Mama mano. They will come back and stay with your husbands. The very man that gave birth to her will become the very man that will impregnate her. Because that period has come before. Where a man no dream say, baby, we be in her. Lot, case you know. We say, be in her, many beda. Na ya 3 ebusu anim. Dino, ye papa, ye wusi pe, ye papa, na siashi. Eni na ye ma papa ne nsa no no oburo eba nani so a then we will make out with him. Enom no mo papa na die. And the nyi say den ebai. They slept with their own father not because they wanted to sleep with their father, but they saw say oma wa omo papa say den ashe. You saw the motivation. In the same way, obi a ware oba bi ontumi ngo o feel say bre so ko onyini enti oba na fa baby wakwawo be ma na fa baby wakwawo the ma awo no ana obi fufuro be mu no is not because person yesa, but the reality confronting them, they say they need children. Say the reality of Sarah ne Abraham was their own child, and that will give birth to Ishmael. The anya say ebi omo pe Ishmael ne mo no life no reality spoke to them and they followed the reality. But when you follow reality, you must also accept the consequences that come with your reality. I need you to understand, say, Onyankopon seseye no. Entirely different from our realities. The onodie from the beginning, 1:1 from the beginning. Sawarijaya ba now koware fofra, it is still 1:1. But say at the same given time, no, obabe ware ma bibri, and the abosono. God has never approved it, He has never endorsed it, and He has never prescribed it. On country will be a say, Uncle live us alive. No. It is also share so phobi, not or they say Yamia. Say Yamia sem a Bible mu, we were 3, we were 4, we were say ya. A ye wa mabra bonne ya record. The omo ye ni ya record. And yet the Yankubon beso mo ye ni atro. But you what in common say? It is dear me ye no ni atra to one on say. Yame per se ubiyako yenisa. Let us have that at the back of our minds. Yen to mean tumpong ewe radimu wobra ade enye nyame na aka no ye de ba kwose say ono na waka. If you belong to the school of lumbacology, please eye ono ne decide say oba ko ware oba foforo aka ne yire a odika no ne yire odika no odi awareja ya babat onyai no ba woni wonchi oba ko ware oba onye na sede di oba ko ware di obeye na sede no waboa no ewo fie because baby anapomoden ene na brabo na du no he needs a helper. And non chere say ye betumi agina so e de aye argument say erade efwa so there be. It is not like that. Enye rade it will be awari mienu miensa no bi e wo mpenafo ni atwere wo bible num na nyankopon anka hwe a enye se wan ka hwe ni nti no ofwa so there be ono de ani opese nipa ye na brabo no wadi kan aka eji wo pa fa o ye ne wan kasa wo penso a ehun sunsan so eden ewo utumi manage ni yie because somebody raised the argument say na se wo mo ye poly omo ware more than one no omo nyina so ewo Abraham kukum omo nyina ewo heaven apart from Solomon. And I say, you see, a toda bia, ye pesi ye ya near the asem kose, a rade. Sanko for no near rade nanti in no, Trone can send be yan ye free so. Or say, GDNT and ye boo womo at train for. Okay, can Hebrews 11 1, meboa. And yo munuma, and yet your muye and ye dibuum so me at train for. And ye GD. But all said at city. Now, who told you say Abraham was credited righteous because he had a child with Hagar and also had concubines? Who told you? No. It is for a whole apostle to sit on radio, TV, no one can say Father Abraham are celebrating in Bono had concubines. It in the say you can also have concubines. What are you saying? It can never be the will of God. It will never be the will of God. In fact, at every given point, the church, a woman, asavano yoba, obaba kope. Christo ware obaba kope, and that's the church. He cannot marry abosonson for. He cannot marry any other belief or faith outside of ononedie, which means say, if religiously say Christo e ware asafonedia. And then anybody who is not part of the church, you are not part of the marriage. And this is Kobeji Abosonson for a day, atum. That means Wawari or Monso, and Kobeji any other form of religion, atum. And that's why when it comes to marriage, we have the Christian marriage, we have the Muhammadan marriage. It's Muslim for no, omu believe. Omu leader no chirom say, Ubechimia wari ema bibri, as long as onsa. But Christ doesn't hold that doctrine, and so it can never be gospel, and it can never be the will of God. Say, Eradema Kwan say, Oba, Bema enko wari bibri, debi, se wo, and now pese o yesa, ye wo. It is a ye apostle, so ye teacher, so ye software, now pese o wari bibra. Kowari ubibri, but en fan beshe nyankopon say enye money. Nem ko chere say rade makwai. Do what you think you want to do with your life. And no de wa oba kubu wa konta e di achere. But say all the beyen chere mano koye se ase ne wu ye ni njino pese beye train ni wo rade ni sintu obi anye bidia. You are very, very wrong to even insinuate like that. Pacho, what you say? What you say? When it's about the divorce, Romans 7 no ekansim be say, uwu ene chechre awarefo no. Say ebeto yebo aseni akenkan ya. Romans 7 no say offer free verse the number 2. Enuanom ne ejanom monyaso enunyam nyankopon ye ne ho kyerɛ yen eja Abraham bra na owo meso fa na meka kan hwɛ asomafo Romans enye Acts Roman Acts 7 ne de Paul na o preach Stephen na o preach wo ho. Okay, verse 2 no or say na obia o hye okunu asede o de mra chechire no asani kunu bra o te ase no na se okunu no wu a wasan no afi okunu no emra no ho enti okunu no da so te ase no so de ne ho kɔbɔ obɛɛma foforo a wayɛ dɛn ɔsɛ ɔkasa nyinaa no ɔsɛ ɔbaa no ne yɛakyekyere wo de abata bɛrima no ho. That means ɔbɛrima no deɛ ɔpɛ sɛ ɔkyerɛ sɛ yɛn kyekyere no ba sɛ yɛde obi ahoma kyekyere wɔ a mepakyɛ wo ɛnkɔnagye mu mmienu eti aha no. There are so many depths of teaching from this angle. One is say owuo etumi betete oba enye ebetumi owuo tete okunu ene oyere entem. Esesa who lay emphasis on the words that have been chosen or see okunu ene oyere. Why ni okunu ni oyere? Eye womo a ehyiamudi abom ntem. Or person says, "Sa covenant no, the moment you have sex with somebody, sa covenant no, you will pay in the between. Patoti and commoni you, and as long as you live, a hanum necessary, we ye bear man now your bar, who pay attention to a sematronica. The moment how only will be bedano forever and ever until say uwu bebano. Covenant edamontem. Sebema ni wuya sa covenant no infiri ho. Se obema ofa ema bibria. It is said one man ehohoro ne nsa ewo different bowls. Somebody was illustrating it on TikTok. It made sense. It's common sense. But not all common sense are morally upright. Put a note to that. Eti ya the bowls miensa esi ho edi nsuo gum. Nipa ba ko na ohoro ne nsa wa ha, no abehoro ne nsa wa ha, no abehoro ne nsa wa ha. Me pa chawo. That activity no nipa ba ko wa horo ne nsa wa ha. Wahoro ne nsa waha, wahoro ne nsa waha. It is a bibi won in some way yarea, wejawaha, wejawaha, wejawaha. Isn't it? Isn't it? A honor dear one fan can mina me de can to draw your attention. Alright? And I say, in see wo we muno, Facebook muno, ya de oil be afra. The second one, the third one, in ye clean. Pacho or running sawaha, so you'll be in sahu. Or the baha or babi jawaha, or the baha or babi jawaha. It's at the end of the day, we're contaminating all the other three, right? Okay. It means say if you are a man and you sleep with a woman who is contaminated, any other person you go, you contaminate the person. True or false? And my dream for ma and fa asemi and quadrin dream. Now the other side of the question is, what if you sleep with a woman and she's clean? No HIV, no syphilis, no gono, no infection. Only the dana only we koda. Do you infect them? No. So that side of the coin is also there. Eti enye den ya ubenya bema bia oba oni ni da no oye clean. Eti ono so beda no wahala. Oni we beda no wahala. But so only second person ni beda na wahala wa. No samba back to the very other one wa or the wahala bre omunyina, right? So is it a win-win or lose-lose? Hello, think about it. Now, what the person was also saying is say, Obadie, so kasi obi chitia, it is any member bibri, edu omosabi good the same boom, and will be a hoveroninsa, ewum. This one no different bulls. One person, different men, watching in the same way. Eti kweku jina ha ya jina ha kufi a member ni na one same bull obi a hoveroninsa eden ewum. Now, if you look at this analogy in the manual, clearly it tells you that people are taking the divine nature and organization of God, free the spiritual point of view, at their back, just the physical point of view, which of course is not going to help the body of Christ. Let's say, Nkoma osuma for Paul edi wahano, He is speaking mysteries. In fact, the guy is talking about a very serious covenant, a coso between Obama and Oba, bra omaede omosiem. Enti se ohwe akamfo yegidie mu a se Obama ne Oba te ho na onkoye ne ho adie mpa eyaware. Nemo ye frɛ no empena aware adinti na ye nananom gitum omugitum because they know say living together as married people, even the facts of me and one no does not nullify the fact say omoye awarefo. Enti se baku a ye mabako be ya manye no wedikuna. Okay, now Oba when chimie nikuna wobra nikuna wu was never married to the man at the time he was alive. Make some way tieni the entire make divorce no, because one aspect of this whole conversation the church is getting it twisted because obia chrenadwene as someone say there are specific activities are ekoso and a marriage is so subject to tradition and culture. Once tradition and culture is in play, God will always deal with you according to your tradition, not somebody's tradition. Nim say oba wua beme wua oba di kuna ye no so no a specific traditional activities be ayeye. In fact, apart from say a year ne bekoso said ye mechire ubetwa utiri wini nyina no abo sakura, which you must do, and now traditionally I don't see that being done. Nemo no betim dukusa na odenensa esie sa untumi nchiachia obia na onyiyi ne nsa no MP is part of the kunaye process. The whole idea they say obema ne sasa no esese ye pamo ye de efiri wo. You bath different soaps, you use different creams. Send ye beya mpam pan na wo ho ne be de ebe pamo oberema na efiri wo. And then ukudware a mark ho kwobwa mabudware. I mean, this is a process you must go through as a widow. On say identity going through that process no a metaphysical separation enti ahano osomafo Paul twi adwesi se owuo e de be breaki sa bond no a eda wo ne bema no entem enti sa wo yo ba na wo abusua mu na ukunu awu na see oye ukunu na wantumi anikunu a, then we have a lot of questions to ask. And were you really married to him at the time he was alive? Were you really a wife? Because no matter what, we expect a wife to observe the widowhood right. Yeni maybe wo kurumha. Asema making yewo ewiasi wim na de chirona kanu. Ena ye nananom de hu se obeme wu a esese ye tete okunafo ne kunu no entem. Iti yewo amamre ni amane a yeye se okwaso dem na akose kawa na during the ceremony no osofo no say we're going to separate Obano from Nikunu Intino Kawana. We say no, that is where we're going to take off the rings. Na ye diegu adakanim na ya afe we believe say you have parted ways. And everybody has gone his way. It is important for us as a church. Free any cultural background say, if you are married in the church, it doesn't negate the fact that a Ebusiano ne dewo ma awari. You are subject to Ebusiano, the tradition and the custom, and the church cannot stand in the way. Now, a lawyer cannot stand in the way, because when you were getting married, there was no lawyer there. It was strictly Ebusia. And one mistake you must never do as a woman, say, asɛm bi bɛba waware ho na wobɛtabiri abusua de asɛm ɛde akɔ court. Don't do that. This is one of the horrible mistakes. Mami eye lumba ne yere pani waye. And because of that, you didn't even observe the widowhood right. Kunaye, you didn't do it. Why would you do that? And if you do this, Naunya udidini ba or supported this whole drama, then you deserve to go through that experience. Am I wrong? I think someone the Americans here and what we are maso. Me say, se wukunu bewu. Nani mami ye no bi na obeye dia. E na na ofata se obeko de mami ni na mimu bi. Na unim ni amanaba ne sa. Ni nyina foundation of marriage na Nyankopon de to ho no. Oma mfa nye adwuma enti na aba ne sa. So what you see, foundation no anye adwuma enti na aba ne sa. Enti na abi wie court. Enti na wentumi ani kuna. Enti na wentumi anye sei, because once you are a married woman, unim say you have been fully employed, a full-time employment. Full-time employment. A work adwuma no ho. Nkorati tie kadwuma no aduane no akadwuma efiesie kadwuma no ho. In fact ahohoye kadwuma no ho. Every now and then be man yare a you are expected to be at the hospital. At the same time work and get money if he doesn't have money to come and support himself. Kadwuma no nti no unye ready. No say I'm not ready. Nepe obaby eden. Etina ebetumi eba say sembe ne sika kra no unim baby eda. But ne ho aba asem oda hospital na epenya esese wudue duem ko babusua forma ne ye ne obeye bia epre ne nkwa uti ye na oba na wo ka wo boye no nti saa de a owu a afei na obeka kire busua no mijiska wa na udi kuna ne ye na ye wia ene emebo kuna ni sanwa da say me bebo no ama ne nsa no wa eden wabo Neja, baby, I'll be free and what sign the aqua. But here we are. In the midst of this issue, we don't see who the true Christians are, the true believers are. Ye hunu, I say, abeye funtum from all the women that are supporting Akosia Sewa, they are in the church. All those supporting Odo Bruni, they are in the church. All the men against Akosua Sewa, for some reasons, they are in the church. Those supporting Odo Bruni, they are in the church. And we forget ourselves, say, there is a position God holds. And yet the position we may hold in this physical case. Let us be very careful. The way we are choosing sides with this matter. Because at the end of the day, awari ni eba kubu ho akonta eya wari ya na kofa nsensem ebusuamu nsensem abayiwu eya wari ya sa wari ya say eye issues say no ekofa nsensem dia bread generations of lubama na sefo te say ensensem bebre ne ma eba bewo ama ne nana no ma ba beti ne ekoso ama akwa kofa issues between Akosua Sewa ma and Odo Bruni ma. A whole lot of issues are going to come out of it. And that is why if a man cannot put his house in order, he cannot be an overseer of God's people. Now, what is God's people? The beginning of God's people is your family. Onyankopon ye obema ebusuaniti. So you must be able to put your house in order. Are we clear? Hello? Before I'll be too sad, I'm will be any polygamous way no. If you're really ready to go there. But the fact is, it has never been his plan, it will not be his plan. But if your relative tells you to go into it, go and do it and fanko say rade. And don't take any inspiration from the Bible. A your reality and a call. Understood? Understood? Enna meti hui. Sereta obe katre me say, while still married to Musa, obema fufra ba opese obeye onwa dia, I won't come. Say odaso ware Uncle Musa yi. No be bomb and yes, I was saying Babe worry. I won't be there. A busiana sem, only a busiana sem. What was saying at the city? Say Dave be catch them me say, why ye ne 1 day. Ba me san kujano no nko ye oba foforo 1 day. Emfa meka ne yire ho a. Ontumi ntrai mpo mfa sa asem no e metu manim. What was saying at the city? Because it is not in my place as a leader to help him do that. It is a meko makwa kudi nechi meko as a man, meko as a friend. I'm not going in the capacity as nyaminipa or anything related to the church. Nature say ye sorry na ye den atu baby ni ye nia yepe. But what you say? At the end of the day, ye hunu na yenti asiye say, whatever you do, there is something called karma. There's something called what? Karma. Die ubi guno. Enwana bedeng. It is a mobe kaya when we were dealing with the sexual laws. Me catch them say episode 1. Tamo ishia last year no. Me catch them say o say obefa we afa we a said de one obana waye ne ho ade eda no sa pepepe na sese one obia wo fa no yeden eda uchiti we a wo wasem e wo awurade anim because wansoma se ko ho wo na de wo pe ekoi o say na density say ne obehwe we ma no sa na sese wo hwe we nso emma attention of the member we no sa attention na fama we fama mo pepepe we ne sadia peace of mind. But all these regulations, it was given because we decided to do what we did. Entina Yesu kachre Pharisee for ne say makuma dinti na Moses shares amra ne yeden. Ema ujisa ware dodo mra na ebaye no. Na ye ne decide say ompew ye beye. No say sadia ma memma momra mo de beden. Mo de be regulate say ne beye munkukunku mo ho. It is all your banner or babe to our race or see if ye na one sorry entia or yere penny. One will say mrano ho. If you hen one sorry entia or yere penny, and na wo be man so no hen we mu or yere penny nanim tia ewo or yere kechuano enim. Make sure say the wabe chire no ye wo seniority ewo ho. We is senior, we is junior. Send you oku school now you senior. We know say senior is senior, junior is junior no. Make sure say that discipline no ebeko. But you know very well say as man, as woman, and yet you will not be able to honor and keep this faithfully. But the truth of the matter is, be me be in wo ne oba be hyase abobra abre no oba no da so ne ni wo hwa o say me yi wo mu na me de obre ne agapade ni bibia akwa sebe ayi obontin suni amakwa akofa naba. No man does that. It is a ebi to oba bi sa na ejina sede na ware no ofa ne fai unim se ompe ubia na untumi enwo ho manoa no ape oba bi aden atna etisa unya de ho koboni se pe be there for the person. Once you're there for the person, you will get what you deserve from the person. Understood? Yay. Mempese ochinebi mi na mumubi apija ne nsateka rooftop na ye boje ne so te senie ye boje ayi anti akusu ya se waso no wo yesa wagumani mu ase e ma no mate de meka no menemu na kasa wo mate de meka no ye mempese wo chine bi na wukunu bewu wo se mentumi ani kuna asem kese be ni eye den na wantumi ani kuna. The only reason I want to mean nikuna, the only reason I no kra o try say will be soon a day asem kese be bro and they say at the time when be manage here say before will be wuno na wa mo be fufuro any why den ada eno de no kuna eno kra the men try men kusumpo because undim na kusu a yesie no wie afiechi wewu ebi kura afene kura ema wɔn sɛ na density eti mesrɛ mu ɛmaa no muni mu ho ni ɛwɔ mo relationship ase na sɛdeɛ mo fɛre mo ho no mo ma no nyɛ saa okay wonim sɛ wompɛ competition bia wo fie a na watoto onneɛma yie and this you will get competition. Actually, who can so be competition about fear? Me to stop no, because or no we see the boss obey na idea. Me to stop no, but wo be to me stop no with senior on any bedding a betina. So what you see? So share the last issue I want us to talk about now. It has to do with putting your house in order. Same way my campaign. If bano uwu ne samansie ne these issues na asemi egusu kosu in the school of lumbacology no baby a sisi a ekekako enenu one eye compulsory say obema beye ejapade na odi eja ne mama wankase ne mawo bible no say ne ma emma. That's the standard. That means the odi jano say servo onananom. Well, nana cancel and we say servo. Enti so ye bema na you are not working hard enough. Say obo honso. Na neno nie ama emema ni bi nso eyi omani ene say obete say o ka kire bema no yirhu na se wuni ho a me ne me ma ya mre ye ni ho ye kohin. Hello. They say muni na madwi nyina ne say ye nyiri ye ho ne enye ejapade na mu bi kunye na ye jahodi amamu. Anyway, that's not what I think you people mean. Asem ka but I say sa asem no mo kan so aye so ye twiku ye mu pa. Enti as long as me, as long as I be ma bobra, the moment you notice say or ye a japadi a tangible asset no, begin to remind him of his will preparation. Then someone say the will preparation. So when you will PNDC law 111 no ebe che japadi no. But nature no wa one ne breya we no anfa wa command to yem you'll be disappointed. O se den obi antumi nye den emma ho ye wonwum bi a omotom si ento wada. And the point I want you to understand, sɛ wo ne obi twempena ne mpena na wo ne na etwe no together you've been able to buy a car, you've been able to buy a land, wotumi atɔ ɛdan, wotumi atɔ asase, ɔnkɔyɛ wo ho ade, wo ne ne wo hɔ, more plane aware, and at that point wotumi ayɛ biribi together, and you can admit say ye mumi no more contribution. When it comes to the documentation, enye mumi no mudi ene woso. Men ka say ware me answer. Because aware no ebetumi aba say emma so, but you have toiled mumi no na motumi work it out. But you dey make what you say. Hello. When it comes to any documentation moye together, Mede NUKPETA Bernard. When the registration is being done, don't go and write Mrs. NUKPETA. You are wrong. Because the moment I decide to make somebody Mrs. NUKPETA, obetumi ababe fight it. A dinner was no must not be Mrs. NUKPETA. It must be your maiden name. Medin de Joycelyn Oponwa Ampem. And no necessary was so na means medin Bernard NUKPETA no. It be between Joycelyn Oponwa Ampem and Bernard NUKPETA. But Mr. and Mrs. NUKPETA, wo no awone may acquire that property in law. The current Mrs. NUKPETA will take over. We will ask you, what is the evidence that you are the Mrs. NUKPETA we are talking about? Because wo na oni me bre a wo call ye no you we no me the oba fofra ba mabrabo ena ono na ye legitimate Mrs. NUKPETA, but enyo ono na oni me struggle for that ejapadi, but just because of the name. What was saying that density enti ukun di no die momon fan frew ewo mframem ewo baby, but on paper it must be your own name. Udi yankasa engoso. But they make what you say. Now these are some of the issues that Ebabe raising up. I can foresee this. Omoko court and they are going to fight for the whaler. Yeshwe will be any mistakes awaye. The yeshwe bibi the eden edi efrim. Se wo obano wankasa wo ye wejapade a be mani contribution bi anymore. The document should be in your name only. Never say me name me waren intin me de nidi ka ho. Don't do that. Say ye car na woto ye na eye wankasa without be manu inputer. The name on the car, the registration document should be exclusively yours. But as I'm not making what you say, Bema, ye won near ma we ansa na ebi oba abawa brabo. Sa ne manikuta wudin. One say Supreme Court ede mrafu frubiaba. Pe the case is a buy no say the fact say oware obi now ne neti na mo ye japade na interest automatically wo half on so half. Are you aware? Omobeye, you go through trial, so will prove say a dino a be mani see no. Me kase menwens you mani dware. Menwe duane mani di. The law at this time does not take sanyemano as contribution. Ombebusa say a dan wo cement ya hen ni wom. Ana say cash a hen na directly wo de maye say yen fanka ho. But say mene na chimi nwe duane manu me massage no or befia me massage no. The law doesn't consider that. And so I'm telling you, say send ye kanen wo nyankopon hye aware say enye ntiase ne yemfa ware no ene ye de kwase ebu ne ware. That is our reality. It is all case wo media me de ntiase ne wante media me te wase fa wonko adin ye wo bra woni no na ye ya you are make ujimi. I mean, do the right thing. But they make what you say. Hello. And that is where you must make sure you say, Ebra what he is updating the will. You know what he is writing. In fact, say oma wu a manenya we say a dan no usika wo mu bi na musi o cement wo mu bi na musi eti se wonim se wo ye samansie na minimu a make sure say in the will you capture a joint ownership. The reason I'm saying all of this is because you must put your house in order so that Ochinebi, when something happens, you will not be found wanting, because Onyanko Pompe Asumdei any pepepe. He's not a god of confusion, he's not an author of confusion. Or ma basabasaye nyeden emma enti mesremo enidiem se obia momoden say eba no aware a ubehu the full package ansa na wayeden wakwa kusim. Some way raising the issue say obema no neja oba no ho no ba Ghana and all of that. Me pa che so hwe na bema no eko baby na ususu say baby no okono enya dia wo sansan na chi aba tudi na chi wai. Hello 2 year day tudi na chi ntino mu ojapade wo Germany wa montonto ni nyina di na chi na momra mo feska no me hye fufura se wa right. Hello na uja no so onko dia of course ye ba ko for dobroni. Said the music no cry mystery. But on the more serious note, you and I are supposed to understand, say, what has happened with Lumbe's family. It is not exactly the same thing that will happen with your family. It in ye kuni nyina no eye lessons keke ena wo share den e de afrim. I don't allow weddings in pathway. You know it. I don't allow wedding. When I started saying this, those as of they were angry. They were upset. Now, the SHRAJ, Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, boss, last few days, Eddie Abase, Awari enye for better for worse, as we used to know. We ain't forget this for better for worse, because the amount of divorce cases are a work court, no. Enya semke 20 wababe dia tumse awari enye for better for worse. Now we ask ourselves, in God, the Radimun warrior for better for worse. Because we heard Mrs. Job saying, say, warrior, and for better for worse. So if it is for better, fine. But for worse, you know, I they go, curse your God and die. Mrs. Job, oh yes, I did know. Anameboa. But Adam from the beginning, Obano kofa trouble by no say, look, we've been bonded. Asema by nena meba bija will say, I will be with you. And Adam was with the wife for better, for worse. Hello, what would the contrast? More contrast, no. Obane bema ne baya obane kriti problem. Uncle bit me I say, Erade, wedi enyemasemu. I didn't bargain for this. Our na me worry no we and come home. It is our kriti mesa. Deal with her. Take her away. Maybe I'm not part. Adam deliberately didn't say adienim adintia a understanding or jitu mu say a ne hokani enti asema ba a yomomi no dia. Both of them have to face the consequences. Isn't it? But today, Oban beka chere be man say, hey, okotwe mpena no nya asema office family ben. Me na me di wachi. Papa, forget it. For some kono. Is that not what the today women will say? But enye de mbeka no. Yeah. Akwako bo dwama na wenya oyare na wu me na me metna wo ho e medware o. Enti no papa ne si na ware na wo mu ware no enye for better for worse. if we are going to use our reality as God's standard, although Nyankopon de do asafo no eye for better for worse. The love that Christ has for the church eye for better for worse. So nimu a ofa ne chi a odaso twen ogusu di ma wo. He has all the tolerance, extreme love, unconditional. He will never reject you. That is the emblem. Eno okachre okununum se monno mo yire se di Kristo ado asafo no. Is that not the standard? It don't say by niesisi we are say our realities, you know. I say we are using it to paint the picture. Say nyame standard, you know, enye you maybe you. If you don't know, till death do us apart. Inti ebetumi aba say you are separated montemwate for some reasons. We call it separation. But kusisi wu eba be briki apamono. My dear, my guy, you are still connected with the person, most especially when a mofra kura siding abem. This is the reason why nan kan sese akusua sewa ene odoburu ni twemanso. Because man ni nyame asem so. Man fa nyame asem anya dwuma. Eti ni aba no esese ye ma odo eye den. Eti ese ya ye gi ni me bitum. Because ya man nyame de na anya dwuma de ya ese ye gi ni me bitum. Hwe, if by any means or by any chance na be discover say you are not the only wife to your husband, the first sensible thing you must do and is find out why you did not become the only wife. Now say o jeje wo ho na ususu ho na hu no say you contributed o kan ho bi ne ba ne sa. Never despise akwada ukunu awo no ana ene oba bi kotwe manson wo yi akwara no ho. No. Do you know what you have to do? Because one, Bray papaya we free me ni nua ba akosua bempomai. Unua bema emma eyoma. Say ya kosua say wo say yo dobro ni unua bema ma eyoma. So nimza. Eti wo ma emma me oni wom kotwe manso eden. Adi na ese okugina obi achi. Because one busua no nkwara ni nyina aba wo ho. Eti wuntumi nkogina oba ba ko achi. Na den unua no enkwara no wo baby fro sa nkwara ne de wunyi ntumi say ye o mana wafom wa create problem. Now how do you welcome enkwara no what the other side to yourself after you took their mother to court? Say wujitum say ba ko no pen nye papa no eyire. The same way, akosia se wamma ene odobro ni ma. Se yade omu nyina eni efifi ena ayi enye se akosia se wamma no ye matured. Na omo overlook dia omo maame ne ye no omo ne omo nua no ma ye enkabo mu a problem aba. You see how it is complicated to have, you know, because if you cannot manage all these relationships and you go with God's plan, then you have peace of mind. Seriously, I cannot accept say akusia sewa ena abeldi lumba eno ne na ye japade everything must go to him. In fact, unim se mremu no so mo koche ejapade ni sisi a de ne mesusa ne binya kese. All of this should teach all of us lessons. Eba ni say ya enye nyame asem o debi enye nyame asem. Nyame asem no de ban ni say Hezekiah will be wu. It is your will. Prepare your will. What say na density will be wu. It prepare your will. And only nyame asem. Prepare your will no will no be so obey no send your obey no eno no enye nyame asem send your beche no ni nyame asem nyame asem e ba ni say yon samansie it is okoyen samansie na go and ye we ni nyame asem but how obey no enye nyame na ekire no because enye nyame na bebo obra na ma no won say na density it ye wonnie bi wo ho a eyi nyame asem ye wonnie bi wo ho a enye nyame asem enti wo gyae ma nyame a enye yi yentumi mfa nyame asem meche ajapade. Hello, understood? Then again, you share another important thing to bring the conversation to a halt for now. Your friend of succession planning. Obiankeni mechi. Succession planning. Na hanom na mede asudi ebeto asafono so. Say emum penifo no entiki that step. Succession plan nipa no a orane ade ne wo ho. But before obe free scene mu no or prepare obi di na ade. Medical catch them during the funeral adesua ne say ye ka odiadini a di obi wu nesese appointed di obi di na ade ansa no wako. Ensese owuwie ansa na busua ba be yi odiadini e the problem beba. Because the opese odi wa ade no obe prepare no wa kire no se ne ope wo de ma na wo de akira eden egya ebibrim ha no empempi no edutuo ni duabo ne sanema no yiniti wabusuam because de wawu no afe na enye de obo brama no be yi obi a omedi na ade. It doesn't have to work that way. Enti pathway to heaven international church enye den ya mewu right as a general overseer. Enti bra metia si ne sese me kire obi a miwu a obedi maade na me sase prepare say nipa no say munyina se meni ho ochina asomasi e na oba behwe asafo no eso. Then while I'm ase no na sa person no ye grumi no ye prepare no eti ento ase mimfiri ho no ne dwumadie ne ho keka ne na ade a oye nyina no ebedi adanse say ampa papa ni ho a asomasi bitumi adan ahwe akire. Se wo wabusua ni mu a o ma wawo wom na esese utumi hunu ne odi akire be den ebegya no pato de meka wate ase se wo yire na wo pese odi wade a esese wo sase prepare wo yire na wo notify anybody around say me ni ho a me yire ene be den ebedi maade ana say me mpana Abigail ena ebedi maade. Pato de make what you say. When say Onyankopon communicate to David say enkwara no a one Abigail awo mu no enyo no na wu a obedi na de enkwara na one asomesi awo mu enyo na wu a obedi wa de na emum Bathsheba no a woni ne boy adwaman no a be kun first child no na second born Solomon no ono na wu a obedi wa de. Even as David was alive, and no make everybody in the family aware say, Sebiwa Solomon ne bidi adie. If you say one kasa asem no anto ho, enu wu ya nkadebe ne bisi wobusue ne komba kofa oyiri pani ana say ne ba pani bi aba bidi na adie. Enso na no mfa asobio nye den eba. But you want to say na density. Abra Moses eda so tiase na wonye nwuye no onu Nyankopon ka kire ne say nun ba Joshua ene bedi wade eti o ba be kwa afre no ejina asoro ne mfamra na me se onu se ne nsa na afi dane honhom na me de ma no eden egu no so enso na Moses ewo abusuafo ho ti said the African Faith Tabernacle odifo nkansa sori mu ya omo ye youth press conference last 3 days or 4 days kase they will never agree say ebusia ni be yi odifo ababehwe asore ne so no now komosi esi adentia because ebusia ne say omo nana ena eti asore no eno no bewu no de ne wawu yi eden edi ade na de wo be wawi de wanye succession no eti afi abusua ne sei wo mu ba bi odi for de aba bi di wo mo so hwe boko issue na ekoso no yeyi mamprusi ni kusasi for no hwe se baako eye 98% nipa dodo wo ho eye 98% ena baako eye 2%. Na wo mo eye 2% no o mo yi ohen wo ba bi say o mo de ne ba bi di ade wo 98% ne so e be yedwuma. This is entokwa no nyina otumfo adwuma o ye nyina no ko wi say the majority will rule themselves because that is what the courts have said and that's what the constitution says. But woman say woman nti woman wan say it won't say saa die ekoso nyina so no eye obema baako a waware ma mienu no ni weyawo no ni weyawo sa oni wewu bebre na oni weya anwo bebre a this is where the issue is enunti na Rahel eni Leah we to me will say jiwe mane mami jiwe mane woman because when it comes to polygamy and ejapade any adidi any success here obi a person or have a person it is sanema we nyina no ya choro nyina say en guide yen na mwayen patro de make what you say edi mesremo modaroma obi a make sure say all the issues na akoso around nyina no ye behwe na yesua ade den ade afrim it is succession planning no se me kwaku metiasi se safo mpanifo ene wo mu aka bie wo mu wo the whole ministry nim entumi anka mom ambusa se papa ochine bi unni ho a hwan na yede no esi akonya no se omehwe asafo no so na yampem wasema anka ne na ochine bi problem beden ebeba ufie se wa ma wukunu ankyere de oni ho a obedi na ade a abusuafo no ba beyi obi a obeserve wo mu interest na ode omode ono aba bedi ade afi wo ne uma ena mo ho ba beden eba be kire mo it is very important for everybody to put his house in order. What say the density? I'm sure say time wo mo kwa kusi lumba no omo di issue bi by say omo di bibi akata nanim ena busia pani beka say lumba bi wo no throw on a wheel mu and to be honest onipa wusi pe ne will it me be no but wo be bia no age say wo de call high court in this all na dakem krana wo say will da wa e say wo de call court na afi mufa the legal process na moko hwe will no nieka eti me pese me gidi say abusua pani na opese o kire say okan obie na no kan yese otwere because e wo ne watwere written testament and e wo oral ebi oda yare mpaso de obie na no ye den e kan a ni nyina e binde atiasefo because obi be wu no ka asem a enye wufo na eye dwuma wo so eye mo amote ase e na ye dwuma wo so eti ni okan no wan fa nye dwuma asamando ye bitumi afrewo se bra be yi hu ano eno de ye wi Kristo ni na udi jimi a ye be frewo ukwa ye ba be ye we de make say what you say tina medical ka kire mu sen samansie obi ka asem tam wo bi wu a mo amote ase no oka ama mo se ne be ya mo de be ye adwuma men ka say ayi nantwi no te ase krambo no ye no na ni podua e na e ba be ye den. Don't say that because so unim sunsuma asem a unyi ni but our reality ni de me be me free ba no me gidi na menim say e wo ho na ye adwuma nso won say na density eti no succession planning no oye oba warefo wawomba so chine bi wunni ho a se ne be ma no bitumi ewu agya ho sa na oba nso bitumi ewu agya oba no e be ma no ne nkwara no ho eti o chine bi wunni ho a enhyehyɛ be na wo oba no nso waye mira Mr. NUKPETA in case say o china mewu a ebia ma Monica entity me ma no e ma me anase bia ma wo maame ekuya da ko a entete wo ma no nye den e ma me ana say me pese nipa so mesi ehwe enkwara ne den ema me na che se ewo nia oni se nipa no aka ana ewo ana ne unim se wo no betumi aye wo mo che se ne wo no na wote ase no ba wanye sa ne mani nyina be ma ne betabri nkwara ne de akomo ba bi ono feel say ono do no na shege pan beto ma no ure be ho. And all of these are petty issues. You need to deal with them. And sana boni bi beba aba. What say na density? Say utiye ye now to me hwen ni nyina no munyia fine. But the no crampo no. Say wundi wa at least ubetumi de WEIJA say, mema. Say atode bi na meni ho na munya asem a monko nipa asumesi ho. Na monfanye den enkodan no. Se mo ba be ware na bibi nti menti ase a monko nipa so mesi ho na monfa asem ne yeden enkodan no sie wachi put your house in order. One say that this here, put your house in order. One thing I've observed and say in the course of all these issues, team legal wife mami akusia yehu ni busuani bia wapege free ni fie ta na chi menim se wehu bi dia lumba na busuafo ni nua ba ene papa shi onye busuani adamfo na omdi mami na chi na busua pani emekasai. Now it makes me wonder, where is her family? And the family no, were they against the marriage? And the family no, they are where said there was no marriage. Where are they? Even in the court, when they wanted to prove, say, Wawari or Germany, the family members no, where were their witnesses? Nobody stood up. Is she coming from an island? No family. You see, some na mene mo kano. Inti emano, monfa adie wi entu utrim. So kwa ware na asemaba na unya ubusuani bia enye den medi wachi on any matter. Please, and you really have to, reconsider the situation. But you're making what you say. Because if that is the case, Cecilia said, Papa ye will free me, resurrection, power, new generation. A year, so for Anthony Boache. So, quite on the year in the faso. So, okay, Undim say, so for Anthony Boache, Nebusia Penia, or my Fufria Bay, dear or no. Deɛ na ɔtease asɛm si no ɔno nso awu eti deɛ ɔbaa watu anamɔ akɔ ne yire no abusua pani hɔ ama ɔmo akɔpa kyɛw ama ɔmo abɔ ɔmo ka ama ɔmo asiesie asɛm na ma afei deɛ adwobrɛ waba. Are you aware? Okay, now ɔbaa no ɛyɛ Yasantoa abusua sorry obusuya penom ka say mo be ware maame no obia ama megyae no obia ama mebonkuru obia ama meka hwe de ete ya ne se radio so ne we mugu maame ne ho fi maame ne so no wanti na no tue over all those issues, whereas obema ne busuafo so no egu no fi yesi no yante maame no anotue. Now see what is happening with lumbacology. Diegu odobru ni hu fi kan sem nyina to no so no obia enkasai, isn't it? Obia enkasai. Now a day is coming a omoba kwohwehwe odobru ni ebusua pani no mo di dwantoa ene cheopa akọ for die omode aye ababawa no. Just like Yasantoa the omode eye no eye mre ene bechere. Now the dignity I'm trying to raise here is eye mami resurrection papa yi ne kunafu ya okechiri the omudi di no woman ko man mama maame na mediku na enye maame no wanye o ebusua na ama na nye enu nya na ebusuafo ta na chi bo ni chi dom guide no we have seen over time sending the busua they play a very important role. But then just look at this situation. No member of your family is fighting for you. Webusia penny be sorry, unye being sorry, nobody is defending you. Then what kind of a woman are you, or what kind of a wife were you during the time wa Otia warrior say? And that's where all of you must take, precaution. Make sure say aware na wo ware no o ware ni yi na o wo wabusuafo nso den omo support at least wo nua ananuafo so o ma me no papa na ewu a o wabusua yantambo somebody there must be somebody who is seeing your involvement in the marriage right and will testify. And that is why I will give you this simple advice. A woman say, wa worry. Untumi mfa wa worry munsem MP a woman sa. And as a responsible wife, you won't do that. But then there are certain events or issues in your marriage. You must find that one person who is capable of supporting you and not disgracing you. And sembi wa what the best is. And now be man ayede ehunu adansi nti enkono kwantenkro hwe one of the things men do is to gather lot of evidences against a woman. They know say a woman is not supposed to trade awarimunsem out there here and there and blah 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 untimi fa awarimunsem ko here and there. But anya hwe kra no, if something is terribly wrong, there has to be somebody you must let know. Seme woyere na bibi ekoso terribly wrong na ochene bi mini wa e the issue beba. She must find a way to communicate it to either my family people or the family people, somebody she can rely on when I'm no more. Part of the American what I say. Because Trona Kapife say adie nyina munyi adansi mienu anamiensa. If you don't have these 2 or 3 witnesses, you may be a Christian but you will suffer in the hands of men. Inti moma yenhwe na yentuto adie ni yi. Okay? All right? Hello? It will be a hwenu nsiesi na chi. In fact, one na twempana. Esisi ususe wo be wu. Ka kire say medo. Ekoba ne say we nya nware me na miwu a warege we mu. Adinti ase we hu say oye otutu na mombi nti wa you are doing the homework. You need to know who is right to take over your space. Hello. Asem na meka no mosre, asempa na meka. Eye asori Universal Church of Jesus sofu buji na so ayehye. Asem na meka na ese agro na midi no. Na so ayehye. Ne yiri ni wuyi omusie no oba waware no no. Wunnim ne eto asafo no ne ne yesiwa asafo nim. You got no idea. But the American what you say, you have no idea. When se obano e recommend say send yare yi die akora enye de ya beko mekwa ware upon wa, she will make a good leader for the ministry. Then consultations are made. Omanye nisa ena omokofa o babya or another branch ye nim ni babya no recommendation the etia ne say ono ne ye good e wo honom enom de ne be share papa yikon ena papa ware no ne makura mafi asore japade wa yama ya tonton bibri members ni be brejeja sorry because of my no. There is absolutely nothing wrong say uni wuku bechire wuku say ekoba ne se mini wa mia mahwe ma ni ma wo we ware we so be ware nko ade a anafa ba we. There's nothing wrong. At least you are putting things in place. It didn't say when we say obi ene wo ho na o yire e ka kire say mini wa ware asomesia, then it really tells you near when hunu wo sa oba ni mu a or per se in her absence or may replace no, because it's not easy to point somebody as your replacement. But that is the truth. That is how we must put ourselves or our house in order. Also home. As I'm not making no, I say it's too new for you. Busa na asem wano busa. And yet, you see, ye can't succession. Ye can't did you. Ye can't mepewo romantic. Ye can't feelings asemo. You see, the problem with all of us, they say, ya think anu hu here ye saying, Bibia. That's a problem. Ya think anu hu here ye saying, Bibia. You know, ABI, you think, say, why is the woman choosing somebody that one on Kaibane specs are in your spec? But why is the woman choosing that person? You should think about it. Na makachire miri say semiwu na opeso warrior wari ni pasumesi bema wi onna mpeso ware no. Common if you remember, I say, "Usi ni panon penwa." Na manti bibisa manti. Hello, usi ni panon penwa. Don't worry. Say, wayene suggestion, right? It is only logical to put it at the back of your mind and consider option one or the abano. Say you have options on the table. It is ordinary option also called adwindwimwa. It doesn't hurt, does it? But where you should be free Yeshua Messiah. Obi wuno obekono. Esuafo no titi wo mu nyina pe. Utreni wo mu nyina pe. But ofre ba ku bi no ka kire say me kwa me de akiri bija. It doesn't mean he didn't trust in the rest. Some were medical doctors, knowledge. Some were tax collectors, tax experts, financial administrators. But Peter was a common fisherman. Right? Even though no me 12, but oko baby or per se a yes sacred and no choose James, John, and Peter. No, I catch them say don't tell anybody else, but they were working together. Putting your house in order goes beyond your feelings. Pastor, they make what you say. It goes beyond your feelings. I say ususa. It trust me. While you are alive, that is when you must choose your successor. It immediately coming kwa. Minim se mewu. Right? Minim se mewu. And then ya esem timi di mani to form asafu imu mema wu ma omo nware at the time am bi wu omumu hwan na se mewu obetumi aye okunupa. No bon wo modern page you must me. Ah ware mama. O nware bio dia se o nware bio. Unwari bio dia say no. Ufrima unwari bio. Obi sa wari ati se sebe aban toilet. Omo ewo ho ne peso mu pie. Omo ni onso peso mu rem. Say them naughty. But when it comes to succession, or manumumbo no, as I say to me prepare, utri ni omu nyina. Titi omu nyina. But I say to me yi ni o pese undi wa udi wade. So nkwara no mu. Enye se oye ba pani nti chinchina na odi ekira ede eja no. Da bi etora bi kra e mema wo ba utumi sa omu kofa oba. Hwe the late Kantanka. So di kan eyi ne baba masi ni na so e no de ne kire. But before be no osesa ade no constitution nim no yi adwa safo say on hwe kire. Adentia e wodi hu ya ansa na obewu. If you don't put those things in order, no be who ne we are. Uwechi no. Unnecessary drama, yes, and unnecessary. And someone who here. A best sorry, na ye de ifini abudina keka, eba bekeka. As you say, we were dedi. Oh, as no person bako dedi. Ain't to me, dear. I will ask all of you to put things in order. Hey, if we are saying what you wish for is what you get. Nobody will understand this better than Mama. Mama Meboa, what you wish for. During your friend is saying, last event you see as a family, I had a wish. I had a wish. I won't tell you because if I tell you, you know what I'm talking about. I had a wish. And by all standard, the heavens have to say, minim ni ha atmosphere we make asemo na omasum ebi kura ade kura mpo na the time kura na make dia agro so na chenchina wo masum na ade no aye adwuma. Because when you say something and you really mean it, that is what will happen. It mean say maybe wu na me hwe mema ewo asafonim anase ewo me circle na obaaku bi ebetumi ahwe mama ene nkwa o be ka kire ni say se mini wa na wo pa fa wi on person be worry bi wa fine but opa on fa ofanso a ebebo an because me saman ba betai de chi o baby a wo papa e de ne be hye wo ne baba mansa se ware we mi hira no so ma no a wo di bi wu no wo ware sa ba no a ebebo wo koye wo investigation se wo bi ko ware sa ba ni bi ma edietia no a because sunsumua ebeba bi di mochi no wanka sebe onwanwa they make what you say. Don't worry, I saw the other microphone way but we know a cut off and you know obia entoto nechi ye se onim say ni okutekute mu no say ye mawo say ye den obi de wo ba bia for obia de ko we meka e de ama wo mo a etie mi a ekuta nkwara omunum se nkwara no ebi de e belong to baby ye meka an matter say ti say me wo menum me de menim se me mayinu na ebi oba ne de onim se enum no miensa ne ye media bi enu nye media ko se me siesie machi na me bɔ mudin ɛwɔ m'agyapadeɛ mu na nokuri mu ɔmo nyɛ me deɛ na ɔmo fa asɛm ɛbɛto hɔ because ɔmo nyɛ me mogya eti na nka deɛ ɛbɛboa ne sɛ papa before a wobi wo no bɛ sɛ meka deɛ ɛwɔ hɔ yɛ dɛn ɛkyerɛ wo kwara ne yɛ num deɛ but ebia ABCD ɛna ɛyɛ wo deɛ yi deɛ ɛnyɛ wo deɛ wɔn sɛ na density o sɛ wosi mewu ntɛm oh mewu ntɛm no deɛ sɛ already no bi wu ba ɛyɛ sɛ mehunu na metoto m'akyi no mehunu deɛ mɛyɛ sɛ deɛ ɔbɛka wano atom na mewu akyi no afei issues ɛba bɛsɔresɔre sɛ na papa ne te ase na ade nti na wammɔmmɔdeɛ na wanyɛ dɛn wanhwɛ asɛm wei anyɛ dɛn anka mfiri hɔ mi sɛ ɛkɔba ne saa ɛde ɔhaw bebree bɛyɛ dɛn ɛbɛba eti madaroma mɛka de aba bɛsi sɛ efiada a ɛda yɛ anim yi ɛyɛ ayi watch night service as you already know na yɛba bɛhyia mu a obiara ne ne nsɛnsɛm nti a yɛba bɛhyia and it's a spiritual night wɔn sɛ na ɛyɛ spiritual night and before a yɛbɛdi party to say Saturday morning next week morning because in the party there will be no service held now as I say we all know where we are coming from and where we are going now say yes everybody we are you know so okay or chinebi meniwa say ni and na day happen and now so messy wa frame say me meye memehwe n'achi ma no enti no so kyerɛ bi oni hɔ a obi bi wu tumi ka sɛ me ba wo yi me de ne ma mfa no wo hwɛ no ana sɛ wo hwɛ no ɛwɔ yeah ɛwɔ agyewa sɛ me bɛgyewa akɔkɔɔ no very good at the age of 6 ne na wi wu no ɛna ɔkyerɛ nipa ko a ɔmfa no enti me ya wɛ dideda se reta ene ye dia kwara na ede amano iti me ya we ni dru baby o feel say ye problematic o feel no say papa wo ba no agi se me de ne ba o say ni so I know say di da ye ntumi mfa ne nkoma obi a ya mfa na nye de anja you never know because we ni ya and we ni so no in fact reta money na I blessed I am very successful. It's my simple advice. Medema yenina nye be mankwa ni sisi echi emayina moyesa. So what you see? Emayina moyesa. Echo da bi kro bi papa bi wo a otumika say na wo oba oba so wan wo fa ne mechi amena me hwese mepene so na me nhira mo ansa na me and this idea wo hwe wani ma na enfo say look antia kosia se wa ne ba Abigail na okọ school wo ayi beje wa ho me no so chire bi mini wa warisa ababawa no de chire say o de asumesi ba mu nhira so nye den wanfa we ama obabi o de bebe ama mo pene so ma no otumi de chire ja na okọ di obi abeba ye mpene kofa we bra won fa na ma o se no so de mi mpewu ewufu ope wo so mpe enya asem mamu ma na enya asem Yesu wa no ka kire se mekọ a Holy Spirit ne beba o se ya asem enya asem obi ka se memfa ntoto won kronkron dabi nipa ne tia se no wo kire say this is what is good for you e woni enti o ka edi no I mean oh yeah that's how it is enti enya asem why very good yeah oh question Mr. Obed at the message be by or say polygamy is not good. It brings pain, stress, division among children, and sometimes rivalry within the women. Abi so idi. But it is his experience. Ebi ane papa ko wari mienu sana ebai. Sanso na ejata ono so ne yiri adwantoa ene akosua bidito. Omoma no aduane ne ye ready omu nyina atena se no madidi adan. Ema ne mienu omutwa be ma ne de kwa na ema ne mienu abetena epon no mo so adan. Omo so do no abom papa ne wiye nyina saa edi no edipendi obi a ne de ba ne nyina nkamfu ano enye nyankopon enhyehye. This a nipa no kofa eye tutu ada se bidie tiawo ana se ebeboa eye niema mienu. But however it is on the safer side, we must try and be on the side of God, except say it becomes circumstantial. Circumstantial ne de ye nyina nim sa brabo de etumi ma bibi esi wa brabo mu a wo ye ho hwe a enye. So what you say? The fact say wo ma mienu na ni nyina no ye to mo na na nkyere say that was what you planned for your life. Abrabo na, ama when you are put in that spot, I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. And so we need to stay focused. Meaning baby ana ansila maka semwa akwa manwa ye ne denti a oma compliment ho. Say wisdom is speaking. Papa, God bless you. Sometimes so can sem ne kotie nipa no a no wa posena no see TV nechi. No hell. No on you no hell not of no one. But I go man dia. It is good that you have accepted what I said at the point in time. Now, Nyankopon yadomo, we know say on the 1st to 9th of April, Passover. And we have already announced the preparation. And this year, we're holding it in Accra, like we already know. Levino has to be sent through Oponwa and Pem Joyce. Na afei, other preparations, no. When we free no one, the earlier you book your flight, the better for you. Because any omu Easter no, ababishia. Any omu Easter na ababishia. Ti ticket bono. Aye de pa. Eti no se unim se obadia na why wild na we traning. And the location we all know say Accra. But the specific location, we suggested a form home. Maybe the maiden program. No. However, after several consideration and consultation, if it is a bit closer, there is an auditorium that is being raised just behind here. And so we're going to have it right behind here. You will not know it, but once the place is completed before the Passover, you'll love it. Because as many who even want to sleep there, or be hanging a mosquito net, know what time from Abe fan come on. And my utility, water and light and so on. Young Koboka, Ewo, baby, Inkutia, light bill, Cassie, Intimo. Once we're done, you can just pass by the back here. Now, we'll say container rooms, kama. Oh, wow, they'll get about between Adahon. Emfa problem, yeah, Emray. And I was looking for the owner to actually fight him until that Mihun say he's a brother. And then so fortunately it's going to be very close. I think say it solves your problem going up and down and all the stress. That's how we're going to operate. Omo raising as a prayer center. It's a container asoridan. One of the videos I'm here, that was where I sat and did the video on this same lumbacology and age-related issues. And it's going to be an interesting and fascinating program. Said that this year, next year Passover is going to take a different turn. We will have our normal unleavened or Passover night, which is the Lord's Supper, and then the days ahead have become activity-based. One of the days you are dedicated for the pastries and all the other any baking yamano. So one day is enough. The whole day is enough for that exercise. The numero now if you are how all of you have been able to learn and you can go work with it. Then we also have the health talk, where we are going to engage few of the doctors vis-a-vis abrofudru any ebibidru no. We're going to engage a lot of talk, and then we'll be having health screening on that day for Enyarewa. That's going to be free in the sense that levy no be taking care of those bills. Now afino yehu say all of you are healthy enough, at least those who attended, and if there are issues that needs to be dealt with, then we can deal with them the herbal way. We equally are going to have a day that is going to be dedicated for investment discussion. Say obobre investment ahodwa obetumi aye ya ewo amanoni titiri na watumi abefi ababeji wa home ye wo krum ha, the kind of investment are here available. We will introduce you to many sort of investment. When the speakers omokasanwu we are, the all feel say odi ohun ko shemo a ebebuwa no na afino when you are the technical or guide are also or the berrani. The whole idea is to do your own work. That's the whole idea. And then we will see how best I can align with financial institutions on credits or grants as startup capitals. Omodebeshe Edumanasia Asorino will act as a guarantor against those startups. So what you say? That means mede mo collection any mo income no eba to see our. Instead of say wo ba ko pay ebia guarantor say me ba beji ebia 10,000 e dia kwa ko yeduma e dia sorry no income no be see our. That means the financial institution beji atumo. We will channel our offerings and our income not there. It is as long as we member na a guarantee no. So this kind of mawa, it is against income no ye deba. That is not to say you are not going to pay. We are acting as guarantee because to me meto collection now say collection ni. Well, the every part it no. Serving as a guarantor will help you to get the minimal capital now. We'll be here for exercise, we'll do mediano. And so the investment session will also come. And then I will also introduce you to an investment opportunity that I have on my table. And if you wish to be a shareholder in that investment, you can also make your decision to invest in it because no company in Europe belongs to one person. A lot of people normally pull resources together to run them so that it can be big and multilateral. That notwithstanding, I think say we don't have any imminent program via until Passover. And the Omoa aim to me ni Asia no for Medino online war and Krahenina no Omonye prepared. Say we have 8 days from 1st to 9th of April to run the Passover session. You're taking note. I think say we know the pastries in a it was advised say omonia registration no send a bear a near manua moving here a dia ye materials flying in your keka. my contribution I'm be to me making a modiato all of those items. It a medical for no I am a message and come out na or more canina in your info. Why? Very good. As a bisabio. What's it?
How we did it at that time.
May the better platform so 3 days before sent in our what you can go. I say, "Ut me at the frame, ut me a call." Hey, sir. I see. And then now, obviously, will be a day update to platform. So now, latest by Wednesday, I will update the platform. It will power the Wednesday before the close of the day, no friend. Now, yeah, more was on and I'll be to me afraid. Auntie Joy is no one here. I'll be. Hey, okay. Okay. Matilda will be to me afraid now when you update, if there is. Why? That night, I had 3 important issues. 1, health. 2, the ancestral issue, which really has to do with marriage, our and 3, our finances. And Yama me and some way, and ye deal with it, Ibia no home and a montruno. But the better platform, this one, Sana, a brasso. Why? Very good. There be a one that. Anka open so say dollar rate number for the open this one. Was a budget.
5,000.
That's how it's gonna be. All right. Say BBA ni hodia. Yedi and common we meeting. Enti ye be to me apija yimu na hey. Mami Musamo, why na unim heaven quine waha, including one from Mamina, unim heaven quine. Quine fast to heaven, so unim mapijan sana maybe. There is a bit me actual quine one. A quine I de course one man, unim. Yes. What's it? What's your fine fan? I now payment to go. Why need him? Unim kwa fast with the call or so I mean. Okay. So, like I said the other time, no, the first segment of our broadcast on Sabbath 7 to 10 is supposed to help the new converts. Womoa Afina Omaba Asafunum for worldwide no, is supposed to help them. Na omuntumi enyeden. Ehunu the concept. Na fi empanifo class ne die as you already know. No baby eyedru no. Enye heaven asem. Ya sumbi ya hoto ene ya brabo no a ese inya enyiraso no eno ena sisi ane empanifo class no yewo. Yenim kwan ya fa sokọ heaven. But ensensem bi wo nti ensensem no na ye no ye deal with. And so I have told you say adie bia eye situational with you no and twen mane meye o how kesia emne ansana one me aka ho asem. If we say yakwa koye busuya kesia, no matter what, I'm responsible for you. Intino near ACBR, no, I have to stick with you until say we'll get it resolved. I've told you countless occasions, say the name will be no the solution, but you have to understand and speak about it. And sign ye to me etu ho anamo. Iti mesre say it still stand after all night service, you know. Yeah, we will have a singles session. I think say one Sunday be a singles seminar. One more and worry, you know, Jumedi. But we haven't certified the date. 18 men can one seminar. I worry for the beba and Nina beba and sana Passover. Abba. But most of the content, I think, because we're going to stream live, you know, we wouldn't want everybody to come and assemble at the venue. Aje womoa, if you need access to all these smart TVs and smartphones and those things, you know. But award the idea, of course, a physical gathering, and not a physical gathering. Because no to mean to na sembi owa menka and function. As and when the event is coming up, I will update you. Why? Dave, obi to me a year na yeah, sorry. And now over. Because hey, Father Bernard, we yeah big yes. Amen. All right. nyame yadomo a ifia da yenimu yi ye beye night vigil no etino obi am prepare no mo a ayi asafuma mo wa ma no ne mo befa dwumadie no live no mesira mo aya mo make sure say dwumadie no koso a mo be follow exactly how we are running it down here no with us. Eti yenim say Friday night no ye the start of the Sabbath no ye run with them. It will be a nkwadwuma. Iti no bomodian say obeye part of the dwumadie. Cause oje won ka echi a mensa me chinsa ma me fa won ko ase yenko. Bas etu. Osi media memfo. Kobra na san be fa me nko a aba. Nti no mo hye ne so emfa emai. Otumfo nyankopon yadmo a that means a SMS Sabbath morning service maso because throughout the night na ye spiritual exercises ti ye pon anopa no na ye di mpape mu a that will be to send ye the other word night service no. And please remember this time around udifo boatin ebeba enti no mon prepare mo na yinshiem. Amen. Utumfo yawe nenimotie emra moso na enkamo until said the next family meeting will be gathered. Shalom.